Pokémon, Building My Territory. Chapter 26. You mean, the tide of beasts in the past few days was caused by humans? White looked at Ryan in shock. He was originally shocked by the aerial shot of Rotom being able to speak human language, but now he learned that the beast tide was man-made. This had a great impact on his heart. Yes, it is almost certain that this beast tide is caused by humans. The men in black robes use these black crystals to disrupt the minds of the monsters and make them hate humans, thus causing the beast tide. Ryan took out the black crystal and handed it to White. White looked at the crystal in his hand and believed Ryan's words in his heart. He clenched the crystal in his hand tightly, his eyes filled with anger. In order to resist this beast tide, all his knights died in battle, and even Lord Nord, whom he swore allegiance to, disappeared in the beast tide. Although he looks no different these days than before, he is still so stable. But every night, when he was alone, the resentment and pain in his heart seemed to drown him. He hated his own incompetence so much, hated those monsters, and even alienated himself from the sting bee, whom he regarded as a comrade and friend. He knew that the giant sting wasp was different from the monsters in the beast tide, but he just couldn't get over it. But now he learned that this beast tide was caused by humans, which gave White a mixed feeling in his heart. There was a sense of relief after learning the truth, a little guilt towards the needle bee, and even more resentment towards those men in black robes. Now he wanted to tear those people into pieces. White raised his head suddenly and said to Ryan, "Master Ryan, please give me the task of finding those men in black robes." Ryan also saw the hatred in White's eyes. "I came to you because I wanted you to be responsible for investigating this matter. But seeing you like this, I think this task should be given to others." White looked at Ryan with a puzzled face and said loudly, "Why? Don't you believe me? I promise you, I will definitely find those bastards and put them to death." "Okay. Can you calm down a little? With the way you are being carried away by anger, how can I trust you to give the task to you?" Ryan slammed the table. This was the first time he spoke to White in such a serious tone. White also realized that he had lost his composure and lowered his head silently. "I know you hate those men in black robes, and I hate them too. Those uncles in the Cavaliers died because of the beast tide they caused. My father also disappeared in the beast wave. When I think of this, I can't wait to crush them to ashes. But we cannot be dominated by hatred and anger. Instead, we must be more rational. Only in this way can we find them and then destroy them." After listening to Ryan's words, White gradually returned to his senses. He felt ashamed of himself. Although he was obviously the older one, he was not as stable as a young man. "Sorry, I lost my temper just now, please forgive me for being reckless." "No need to apologize. Anyone who encounters this kind of thing will be angry. This only shows that you value feelings." Ryan slowed down his tone and then said to White, "Now that you have regained your senses, the task of investigating the man in black robe will be left to you. Remember, I'm just investigating. Even if you find those men in black robes, don't conflict with them for the time being. They are very powerful and can even easily control the circle bears. We are not their opponents yet." "Understood, I will ask the investigators to be more careful." White nodded in agreement. "By the way, you can give the investigation of the men in black robes as a task to those visitors from the God realm. They are immortal and are suitable for this kind of task." Ryan suddenly thought of the players. They could be resurrected. It didn't matter if they were discovered during the investigation. Even if they died, they could bring back the information. "But don't the visitors from the God realm only obey your orders? I can't command them." White also felt that those visitors from the God realm were the best candidates for investigation, but he was afraid that they would not obey orders and act randomly. "Don't worry, didn't I ask you to make some coins out of scrap iron before? If you use those coins as payment, they will definitely listen to your command. The players are all still carrying debts, so as long as you give them elf coins, you can definitely hit them wherever you want." "Okay, tomorrow I will go to the mission station to issue the mission." Although White didn't know why the visitors from the God realm took scrap metal as payment, Ryan, who knew the visitors from the God realm best, said so he just followed it. "Do you have anything else?" Ryan asked casually and was about to end the conversation and go to Bound Suite, but he didn't expect White to really have something to say. "I do have something to report. When will we select new knights? The territory's defense is extremely empty. It's really beyond my capabilities on my own. There is an urgent need to recruit new knights." Knight selection. Ryan fell into deep thought. In the Pokémon world he lives in, people who can control Pokémon are called Pokémon users. To put it simply, a knight is a Warcraft user who has been canonized by a lord. There seems to be no difference between the two, but in fact they are very different. It's easy to become a monster user. No matter what method you use, as long as you can control a Pokémon, even a Magikarp, you can call yourself a monster user. But it is difficult to become a knight. Either you start as a knight squire, go through layers of training and selection, and finally be canonized by the Lord to become a formal knight. Or you are extremely powerful and are favored by the Lord, and then canonized as a knight. The former takes time, and the latter requires strength. In short, it is not easy to become a knight. Of course, the benefits of becoming a knight are definitely better than those of ordinary beast masters. Not only will you enter the aristocratic class, but if you can be valued by the Lord, you can also obtain a territory and become a small lord yourself. Before, there were more than a dozen knights in Firefly Town, and their strength was also in the middle stage among the baronies. But in the process of resisting the beast tide, all these dozen knights died in battle, which also caused Firefly Town to be almost defenseless now. So White was very anxious and eager to add some knights. But as far as I know, those knights are still in the initial training stage, and they are not even beast masters. How can they be selected? This. White didn't know how to answer. What Ryan said was indeed true. We can't let a group of people who have never even come into contact with beasts be knights. Don't worry about the defense of the territory for the time being. Other territories have also been attacked by the beast tide, and the losses are no less than ours. And I heard that the Sea God Temple has also sent an investigation team to investigate the cause of the beast tide in the surrounding area. Now whoever makes a big move, the investigation team will target him. If someone dares to attack us in this situation, we will hand over this black crystal to the Sea God Temple and apply for their protection. White felt that what Ryan said made sense, but he was still a little worried. What if the investigation team leaves? We still need our own fighting power. Of course I know this. Don't forget that we still have visitors from the God Realm. They grow very fast and should be able to fight by then. But we can't rely too much on them. Let's select some followers to contact the monsters in the courtyard. They are very close to humans. Try to make those followers become monster masters. Ryan took into account that players would also go offline. He couldn't just rely on them to defend the territory. He still had to cultivate some indigenous fighting power. Yes, I'll go and select suitable knight followers. As it concerns the future of the territory, White doesn't want to waste any time. Wait. Go find some farming experts or people with high prestige among the people, and ask them to come to the castle to find me tomorrow morning. I want to show them what real farming is. Chapter 27. The next morning, the players went online early. They followed White to the already allocated farmland. On the way, White also mentioned the investigation of the black-robed man, and the players agreed, as they were short of elf coins. However, this task would have to be done later, as they were now thinking about farming. White was not in a hurry, as investigating the black-robed man was a long-term task and could not be completed in a short time. But he was very curious about why these visitors from the God Realm were so keen on farming. When they saw the farmland, their eyes lit up and they rolled up their sleeves to get to work. This was actually a cultural difference. Farming is a gene engraved in the player's bones. Every flower-growing family has had the desire to grow things. Unfortunately, most people are trapped in reality and do not have the conditions to farm. They can only play farming games or watch some farming variety shows. And now they have a large piece of farmland that is exactly the same as in reality, and they can farm on it at will. How can they not be ecstatic? White, a traditional noble class, naturally couldn't understand the players' love for farming. But being willing to farm is a good thing after all, which is conducive to the development of the territory. Thinking of this, White no longer hesitated. After handing over the mole to the player, he turned around to find a farming expert and a person with high prestige. The players started farming enthusiastically. When Ryan woke up, it was almost noon. He rubbed his temples on both sides. He slept for a long time, which made him a little dizzy. These days, he has been busy dealing with various affairs of the territory and guiding the group of players. Basically, he has not had a good sleep. Last night, Bounsweet saw that he was exhausted and refused to let him continue working. He forced him to go to bed to rest. He also released a calming aroma on the side, so that Ryan had a good sleep. Woo! Ryan stretched comfortably and felt much better. He walked out of the bedroom and saw White waiting for him at the door. Sorry, Uncle White, I overslept and kept you waiting. I should apologize to you. I took the initiative to ask the servants not to wake you up. You have been too tired these days and need a good rest. Thank you for your concern. I did rest well this time. Have you found the people you were looking for? I found them as you asked. They are waiting for you in the living room. Take them directly outside the castle. I will find you after I finish cleaning up. Ryan cleaned up briefly, and then took the people to the players' farmland. He pointed to the players who were farming, and then said to the people, I brought you here because I hope you can learn the farming methods of these refugees and increase food production. As soon as he finished speaking, the people started to talk. Why should we learn from them? What good farming methods can a group of refugees have? That's right, I've been farming for decades, can't I be better than a few young people? These young people haven't even grown their hair yet, I'm afraid they can't even use farm tools. They were discussing at once, and they didn't believe that the players could be better than them in farming. Shut up! Ryan stopped their discussion loudly. It seems that his prestige is still insufficient, and the people dare to discuss his orders. If Ryan's father was here, they would definitely not dare to say a word, and learn whatever they were told to learn. But this is understandable. After all, Ryan has just become the Lord, and the people have not yet developed enough trust in him. Besides, it is related to the food problem, of course they will not try it easily. First, watch how they farm here, and then you can decide whether to learn after watching. Don't worry, I will never use coercive means. Ryan knew that no matter how much he said, it would be useless, so it would be better to let them see it with their own eyes. Soon, these people were shocked by the players' operation. They are actually commanding the monsters to cultivate the land? And the speed is so fast. They have cultivated so much land in just a short time, which is equivalent to my half-day work. Why do they burn those dead branches and leaves? And spread the ashes on the land? What is that strange farm tool for? The people in the territory are more and more confused. They have rich experience in farming, but they don't understand what these refugees are doing. Could it be that what the Lord said is true, and these refugees really have a farming method that can increase grain production? Finally, a citizen couldn't help asking. Excuse me, Lord, can they really increase grain production by doing this? Let them answer you, taciturn, come here, these people have questions for you. Lian called Chen Yan over and asked him to answer the doubts of the people in the territory. Chen Yan naturally answered everything he knew, and he was also thinking about improving the favorability of Ryan and the people in the territory. Why can you command monsters? You mean the moles? They were rented to us by the Lord. These little guys are good at tilling the soil, and the feces they produce can make the soil more fertile. Of course, its feces alone can't improve the fertility of the soil, so we burn some wood ash and spread it on the land. What is wood ash? Wood ash is the ashes left by burning plants. It contains rich trace elements such as potassium and phosphorus, which can be used. Don't you understand? To put it simply, after spreading plant ash, the land becomes more fertile, and it can also kill the bacteria in the soil and allow the food to grow better. That farm tool is called a columbine. It's used for sowing seeds. Since time is tight, I made a simple version. But it's much better than sowing seeds by hand. It saves time and effort, and it can also spread the seeds. It's more even and can save a lot of seeds. Chen Yan answered the questions of the people one by one. Is there anything else you want to ask? Why is no one talking? That's no problem. Lord, I'll go and get started. When Chen Yan saw that the residents were all looking at him blankly and not saying anything, he thought they had no questions to ask, so he said hello to Ryan and went back to continue farming. Little did he know that the methods he mentioned had already shocked the citizens into speechlessness. After a long time, the citizens gradually came to their senses, and they looked at Ryan with excitement. Lord, is everything he said true? Of course it's true, otherwise I wouldn't let you learn from them. Following their farming methods will not only save time and manpower, but also increase food production by at least 30%. Ryan stretched out 3 fingers and waved them in front of the citizens. 30%? Are you kidding me? The citizens asked in disbelief. Why would I joke about the food problem? There are many of you who are expert farmers who have been farming for decades. I believe you know whether these methods can increase food production. Some of the people in the territory turned their attention to a few farming experts. They gathered together to discuss for a while, and then nodded to everyone. Although they don't know the principles of these methods, based on their years of farming experience, they do have a high possibility of increasing grain production. Seeing the expert farmers nodding, Ryan continued. If you are still worried, I can use the honor of my family to promise you that if this method is used to reduce food production, I will make compensation. The choice is now up to you. Are you willing to learn the farming methods of these refugees? The citizens looked at each other and then shouted impatiently. I learn. I want to learn. Obviously I was the one who said I wanted to learn it first. You go to the back of the queue. Seeing the people scrambling for the first place, Ryan smiled proudly. If I don't give you a little farming experience, I would really be sorry for the flower growers' thousands of years of farming history. Learn slowly. Chapter 28. After a morning of study, the representatives of the people in the territory have almost all learned the farming methods of the players. After all, these methods are not complicated. The only troublesome thing may be the production of the plow cart. But Chen Yan directly disassembled and reassembled the plow cart on the spot, and explained the structure of the plow cart to them in detail. This touched the people in the territory. These refugees are all good people. Not only did they risk cutting wood to help them rebuild their homes, they also taught them all these farming methods without any reservations. Although their behavior is a bit weird sometimes, the flaws do not outweigh the merits. They have recognized these refugees. Although the players don't know what these people in the territory are thinking, they can see that their attitude is much better than before. It seems that the favorability has increased a lot. The players are very happy and the teaching has become more enthusiastic. Looking at the lively and harmonious players and indigenous people, Ryan nodded with satisfaction. This is the effect he wants. It not only promotes better farming methods, but also brings the players and indigenous people closer. And it can also allow the natives to try to contact Pokémon. Because moles play a very important role in arable land, although the natives are very afraid of Pokémon, they will also try to contact them in order to increase food production. Now several people are cautiously approaching moles and trying to communicate with them. And the moles are also very friendly. This undoubtedly made the representatives of the people determined to rent moles. The representatives are all farming experts and people with high prestige among the people. If they all decide to rent moles, then other people will basically follow suit. This will greatly improve the relationship between the natives and Pokémon. In the future, the natives will not be so afraid of Pokémon, and we are one step closer to the goal of letting them live in peace. Ryan is very satisfied with this situation, and the territory is also developing in a good direction. But now there is another problem. There is a shortage of players. There were not many people who booked the game at the beginning, so he only summoned 5 players. Later, after Chen Yan's promotion, the number of reservations increased, but Ryan still did not summon new players in order to save Genesis points. But now 5 players can no longer meet the needs of territory development. There are still large tracts of cultivated land in the territory that the indigenous people dare not go to, and the daily tasks of the mission office also need someone to complete. There must be players to investigate the black-robed people and protect the territory. In short, even if these 5 players are split in half, it will not be enough. Summon new players tonight. Summon more this time. Ryan looked at the remaining Genesis points on the panel and prepared to use most of them to summon players, leaving only a little for emergencies. But there are so many reservations, how can I choose the right players from them? Ryan was a little worried. He was afraid that he would choose some players who were lazy and disobeyed management. Although he could directly ban the account at that time, it would also waste Genesis points in vain. It would be great if everyone could be like these 5 players. I'm pretty lucky. The first batch of players are all very good, and there are some high-level players like Silent and Taciturn. Hey? Wait. I don't know who is suitable for playing this game, but Silent and Taciturn know. Why don't we just ask them to recommend a few players when the time comes? It is said that birds of a feather flock together. Ryan thinks that the players they recommend will definitely be more reliable than those randomly selected. But how should I tell them? In the eyes of the players, Ryan is just an NPC with a high degree of intelligence. He certainly can't use this identity to tell them about the players. I can't talk about this in the game, but I can talk about it outside the game. Ryan looked at the network connection function on the panel and had a suitable solution in mind. At 6 o'clock in the morning on Blue Star, all 5 players were offline, and the chat group became lively again. Last night, Zai-Feng, family members, who understands that I, who usually feel tired of going downstairs to pick up a package, actually planted the land for a day. What's more terrible is that I still feel that I haven't had enough fun, and I want to continue planting tomorrow. One leaf knows autumn, who isn't? Speaking of which, the great master Silent and Taciturn is really amazing. He can even make a plow. This thing is a great help. Silent and Taciturn, no, I also learned it according to the tutorial on the internet. In fact, the production method is very simple. You can learn it in one go, right? Jingle bells, speaking of this, we also have to thank Lao Ye for lending us here across, otherwise the 2 of us weak women really couldn't pull the plow. Ziu, thank you. One leaf knows autumn, well, it's all trivial matters. Let's help each other. Last night West Wind. Someone who claims to be a game planner of the Pokémon world is applying to join the group. After Su Ruofeng finished speaking, the group was silent for a few seconds, and then it exploded. One leaf knows autumn? Is this true? Jingle bells, will there be planners for virtual reality games? How did he know our group number? Silent, as long as it's a game, there will definitely be a planner, but I don't know what he wants to do by joining in. Last night Westwind, oh, just add him and ask him and you'll know. Last night Westwind has agreed to let Zai join the group chat. Zai, hello, everyone, I'm the game planner of the Pokémon world, you can just call me Zai. Jingle bells, hello, Zai, are you really the game planner? Zai, it's true. If you don't believe me, I can tell you some things in the game. For example, in today's game, Zai-Feng wanted to play a trick on here across last night, but was knocked to the ground. Last night Zai-Feng, ahem. Okay, stop talking. I believe you are the game planner. Other players also believed that Zai was really the game planner. After all, he knew everything that happened in the game. Jingle bells, it turns out that Zai has been watching us play games. Isn't it exciting to peek? Doghead. When Ryan saw this news, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. What kind of words are these? He was obviously watching openly. Yes, this Zai is actually Ryan. He connected to the Blue Star network through the panel, registered a chat account, and pretended to be a game planner. Then he joined the chat group of players, so that he could not only receive feedback from players at any time, but also naturally ask them to recommend players. Zai, I'm just observing the operation of the game, and I don't mean to spy on you. Jingle bells, hey, I'm joking, you are also responsible, what's the matter with Zai joining the group? Finally asked the key point. Ryan was about to answer when he was interrupted by Su Ruofeng. Zai-Feng last night, what's Zai? Call Zai. Zai naturally has his reasons for joining the group, no need to explain to you. Yis Hikayu, good licking. When it comes to licking people, I would like to call you the best. Ryan looked at the group chat with a black line on his head. Why did the topic go off again? Silent, excuse me, Zai planner, how did you develop such advanced virtual reality technology? Why have I never heard of your company's name before? Why did you choose to develop games with this technology? And how long will the game beta last? What kind of charging method will be adopted after the public beta? Will this game enter overseas markets in the future? Chen Yan asked all the questions that had accumulated for many days in one breath. Yesterday's Westwind, good guy, no wonder you didn't say anything for a long time, you are holding back your ultimate move. Lian's head was about to explode when he saw these questions. You ask me, who should I ask? He quickly changed the subject. Zai, let's talk about these questions later. I joined the group this time with a mission. On the one hand, it is to collect your opinions on the game, and on the other hand, I want you to recommend some friends to participate in the game's internal test. After Ryan sent this message, the group fell into silence again, and then it became boiling. Chapter 29. Everyone in the group was very excited when they learned that they could recommend beta testers. Zai-Feng last night, really, Master Ji? When will the recommendation start? Jingle bells, finally, new friends are coming. I'm going to bully those cute newbies. Yi's Haikyuu, you've only played for 3 days? Why do you talk like you're a big shot? By the way, are there any specific recommendation criteria? Ziu, Bubble JPG. Everyone was talking at the same time, leaving Ryan no chance to interrupt. At this time, Chen Yan stood up and interrupted everyone's discussion. Silent, everyone, stop for a moment, let Zai Planner talk in detail about recommending beta testers. The group gradually quieted down, and Ryan finally had a chance to speak. Zai, okay, first of all, thank you very much for your support for Pokémon World. Through these 3 days of testing, we found and fixed many bugs in the game. The game is now running well overall, but there are still many undiscovered problems. So we decided to expand the scale of testing, and try to find out all these problems, so that the game will become more perfect. Ryan first talked about the reason for expanding the number of internal testers, and then continued. Zai, in order to find out the problems of the game faster, we need a group of internal testers who can take the game seriously, and you all performed very well in the game, and we believe that the candidates you recommend must be excellent. Therefore, each of you will have 2 recommendation quotas. As for the recommendation criteria, it is best to have a skill, which can also help us better test various sections of the game. Yais Hikayu, has Zai finished speaking? Can I speak now? What does it mean to have a skill? Old Ye thinks the term skill is a bit vague. Zai, actually, it is called a skill, but our requirements are not high, such as cooking delicious food, building houses, designing clothes, and even recommending high-level players of other games. As long as they can treat the game well, we will accept everyone. Ziu, does everyone have to recommend? Is it okay not to recommend? Ziu has almost no friends in real life, and she doesn't know who to recommend. Zai, of course, we won't force you to recommend players. If you don't have a suitable candidate, you can transfer the recommendation quota to other people in the group. If others don't need it, we will recycle the quota and randomly select from the people who have made reservations. Speaking of this, I want to emphasize that the recommendation quota is not allowed to be bought and sold in any form this time. Once we find any buying and selling behavior, we will ban the relevant game accounts. Last night Zai Feng, don't worry, Master Ji, there are only 10 recommendation quotas, and we don't think it's enough for us, so why would we sell it to others? Miss Ziu, if you don't have a recommendation candidate, can you give me the quota? I'm so grateful. Zai, you can allocate the recommendation quotas by yourselves. Just send me the names and addresses of the recommended candidates privately before 6 o'clock tonight, and I will give them game helmets at that time. Okay, I'll stop here if there's nothing else to do. I wish you all a happy game. Several players also knew that the game planners were very busy, so they didn't try to persuade him to stay. After saying goodbye to Ryan, they started discussing the recommended candidates in the group. After closing the chat group, Ryan came to the official website. This time he planned to summon 15 more internal test players, 10 of which were given to Chen Yan and his team. He wanted to select the remaining 5 from those who made reservations, so he couldn't let them make reservations for nothing. He first checked the number of reservations for the game. Current number of reservations, 188. This number is quite auspicious, but the number of reservations is indeed a bit beyond Ryan's expectations. He didn't expect Chen Yan's publicity to be so effective. The official website forum is mostly filled with comments from Chen Yan's fans. Girl picking mushrooms, is this the game recommended by Xiao Yanzi? This official website is too simple. Tear up your umbrella, Xiao Yanzi should be here to make a living, but can't he pick a better game to make a living? George's page, do you think there is a possibility? I mean it's possible. What Xiao Yanzi said is true. I'm not Lao Ba, I'm laughing to death. Fans are still here to protect it. It's a virtual reality game. Are you kidding me? If this game is real, I will live broadcast eating poop upside down. Oh? You know what, after seeing this comment, Ryan really had the urge to give the quota to this person. He wanted to see if this person would do what he said. It's a pity that this person didn't click on the reservation link at all, so he couldn't give the quota even if he wanted to. If you have the ability, never click on the reservation link. As long as you click it, I will satisfy your desire to eat and drink for free. Ryan didn't continue to read it. Anyway, they were all bad comments. He began to check the information of those who clicked on the reservation link one by one. The network connection function of the panel is very powerful. It can easily invade any electronic device and query the information in it. Ryan focused on the game information of these people, wanting to see how they performed in ordinary games. Wow, this guy actually played more than a dozen strategy games, and also published a lot of guides. Not bad, I'll give you a spot. This guy actually cheated little girls in a dress-up game. What a beast. Submit the information directly to the police uncle. Wow, this guy played Tora and was stuck on the first boss for half a year. He challenged it hundreds of times but still didn't give up. He is really determined. Let's keep him as a backup. Ryan carefully read the information of each player who made an appointment, and finally selected 5 people he thought were suitable. Oh my god, is it so late? It's really time-consuming to check the information one by one, but it's just this time. I will randomly select players in the future. The Genesis points he can get every day are still very few, and there are not many players he can summon. Naturally, he has to be careful and not waste any Genesis points. When Genesis points are sufficient in the future, he can summon players at will. If he picks an unsuitable player, he will directly ban the account. He won't be short of these Genesis points at that time. The 5 players have also decided on the recommended candidates. Together with the 5 I selected, there are exactly 15 internal test quotas. Send the game helmets to them first. Ryan sent the game helmets to these 15 people through the panel. I've already experienced it once, but I'm still a little excited when I think about the new players coming online tomorrow. No, I'd better recite the opening words again. I've almost forgotten what I recited before. Ryan felt that he was not sleepy at all, so he simply practiced the opening words. On Blue Star, the 15 selected internal test players were looking at the game helmets in their hands with shock. They were exactly the same as Chen Yan when he received the helmet, and they were all a little bit unbelievable. But whether they believed it or not, none of the 15 people threw away the helmet. Instead, they all looked forward to the arrival of night. Chapter 30. Lin Mu is one of the 15 new closed beta players, and his spot was given by Chen Yan. Both of them are up owners in the game section of Station C, and they have about the same number of fans. It's just that Chen Yan plays all kinds of games, while Lin Mu prefers management and construction games. The two got to know each other through an offline gathering, and found that the other person's temperament and personality were both to their liking. As a result, the two often interacted on Site C, and even made appointments to hang out from time to time, gradually becoming very good friends. When Chen Yan was attacked by fans 2 days ago for retweeting comments about Pokémon World, he also offered a wave of support. Of course, support for support, Lin Mu doesn't believe that there will really be any virtual reality games in this world. He also felt that Chen Yan was just having fun. Until Chen Yan called him this morning. On the phone, Chen Yan swore that he was not lying, that the virtual reality game was real, and he also recommended the precious internal beta slot to Lin Mu. To be honest, at that time, Lin Mu thought Chen Yan was stimulated and was already planning to take him to the hospital to see a psychiatrist. As soon as I hung up the phone, the gaming helmet was delivered to my doorstep. This made Lin Mu somewhat believe what Chen Yan said. At 6 o'clock in the afternoon, Lin Mu put on the gaming helmet as soon as possible. As a wave of sleepiness hit him, he slowly closed his eyes. Then a beam of light shone on his face. I was clearly lying in the bedroom. Where was the light coming from? Lin Mu slowly opened his eyes and found that he was in mid-air. Am I dreaming? Could it be that I just fell asleep? Before he could react, his body began to move uncontrollably. After going through the forest and town, and creating characters, Lin Mu knew that he had entered the game. Damn it! That boy Chen Yan really didn't lie to me. This is really a virtual reality game. After Lin Mu's consciousness merged with the body in the game, he was even more shocked by this immersive 5-sense experience. Needless to say about vision and hearing, he already felt it in the opening animation. He just didn't expect that the sense of touch and smell would be so real. He touched the wooden floor and felt an obvious roughness on his fingertips. Put your finger on the tip of your nose and smell it lightly, and you can smell a light woody fragrance. This game is absolutely amazing. Lin Mu was instantly conquered by this game. He stood up and looked around and found that many players had woken up. Like Lin Mu, they were all stunned by the too realistic game environment in front of them. Some people even took a bite out of the table leg, and after spitting out a mouthful of sawdust, they smiled with satisfaction. This game even has a taste system. It's really a fortress. Lin Mu was stunned by what he did. This man is a ruthless person. He looked at the name above the person's head, chicken stewed with mushrooms. Well, the name suggests someone who loves to eat. No wonder it is so focused on the sensory system. At this time, Lin Mu suddenly noticed a few big words written on the wall behind Brother Mushroom. Although he had never seen such words, he knew what these words meant in his mind. Please put your clothes on first. Forward. Only then did Lin Mu feel that his lower body was spinning a little, and he quickly picked up the clothes on the table and put them on. The surrounding players also reacted after seeing it and put on their clothes one after another. After Ryan opened the door and came in, he looked at the players who were dressed and nodded with satisfaction. Finally, no more eye-catching scenes. It's no wonder that he wrote a few big characters on the wall. In fact, the languages and characters of the two worlds are very different. Players on Blue Star cannot speak the language of the Pokémon world at all, and it is impossible to understand the characters of the Pokémon world. Therefore, when Ryan created the player's body, he deliberately added a language and text translation function. This function will automatically convert the words spoken by the player into the language of the Pokémon world, and the words spoken by the indigenous people will also be converted into the language of their native country in the player's ears. The text aspect is different. Players can only understand the text in the Pokémon world. If they want to write it, they still have to learn it themselves. Follow me. Ryan led these players to the living room, where two female players were already waiting. After all 15 players gathered, they couldn't help but start chattering again. This game is really awesome, it's almost the same as reality. Who says it's not the case? If I hadn't seen players with names above your heads, I would have thought I had traveled through time. This handsome guy must be an NPC, he looks so classy. The living room suddenly became as noisy as a vegetable market. Quiet. Lane tried to silence these players. But the players were too excited and spoke loudly. They did not hear Ryan's words clearly and kept talking. Okay, give me a comparison of the volume of your voice, right? Ryan took out an elf ball from his waist and threw it. Circle Bear, roar for them twice. Roar. As soon as the Circle Bear came out, it roared at the players. The huge sound shook them directly. All the players closed their mouths and stared at Ryan and Circle Bear. They weren't causing trouble just now, they really didn't hear what Ryan said. After seeing that the players stopped talking, Ryan began to talk about the opening remarks that he had memorized for a long time last night. Visitors from the God Realm, welcome to Firefly Town. I am the lord of this place, Baron Ryan. In our world, there are magical creatures called Pokémon living everywhere. They are smart and cute, and have various strange abilities. Ryan patted the Circle Bear beside him. Is this cute? The players looked at the ferocious Circle Bear and wanted to complain but did not dare to speak. Ryan didn't think there was anything wrong with his words, and he still recited the opening remarks impassionedly. In the coming time, I hope we can work together to get the world back on track. Ryan recited the opening remarks from the previous few days verbatim. After all, I made it up after thinking about it for a long time. As long as there are no special circumstances, this opening line will be used forever. In addition, there are many prohibited items in the territory. You can ask the previous batch of visitors from the God Realm and Secretary White about the specific contents. If anyone violates the prohibitions, I will send him back to the God Realm and deprive him of the right to enter this world forever. Although this group of players are carefully selected and have high quality, they are still the fourth natural disaster. It is better to get a vaccination first to prevent them from doing something unexpected. After listening to Ryan's words, although the players were shocked by the power of this NPC, they did not have much resistance. They also know very well that a game with such a high degree of realism must have restrictions, otherwise it will directly go into chaos. And even if they object, so what? It's a seller's market now. If you don't want to comply, there are many people who are willing. After emphasizing the prohibitions, Ryan led the group of players out of the castle. Chapter 31. This sky. This light. And this wind. Isn't this really the real world? I have been doing good deeds all my life, so I deserve to be able to play this kind of game. Awesome. If anyone says this game is a scam again, I will be angry with him. After the players walked out of the castle, they were once again stunned by the scene in front of them, and they couldn't stop exclaiming in admiration. Ryan listened silently on the side. To be honest, he had become numb to these compliments. When the 5 players praised him before, he felt a little happy and proud. Now that he has heard more, his heart has long been calm. He even had the leisure to compare the strength of the praises from the two groups of players. Well, the 5 old players are still good at praising, and the vocabulary of the new group of players is not good enough. At this time, the 5 old players were commenting on the new players at the gate of the castle. Tisk tisk tisk, look at their inexperienced looks. It's just a virtual reality game, is there any need to be so excited? Su Ruofeng said with some disdain. I don't know who pinched himself as soon as he entered the game, and even lay on the ground looking for grass to eat after leaving the castle. Your performance is much more exaggerated than theirs. Chen Yan directly exposed Su Ruofeng's past. I was testing the pain and taste system of the game, okay. These newcomers only know how to say wow and awesome, which is much worse than us at the beginning. They still need old players to lead them. Su Ruofeng said confidently, but he didn't know that there was a player who was even more ruthless than him among the newcomers. He gnawed the table leg as soon as he entered the game. Chen Yan was too lazy to argue with him, but Su Ruofeng was right about one thing. The reason why these old players left their fields uncultivated and waited for the newcomers here was to lead this group of newbies. As soon as they went online this morning, Ryan issued them a task of old players leading new players. Required them to take the new players to familiarize themselves with the territory environment and introduce various precautions. The more newbies you bring, the more elf coins you will be rewarded with. This really excited the old players who were still in debt. This task is great. Not only can you show off in front of the newbies, but you can also make money to pay off your debts. So don't think Su Ruofeng is very disdainful of these newbies. In fact, he is looking for a reason to bring more newbies. Chen Yan had seen through his thoughts a long time ago, patted him on the shoulder and said. Okay, stop pretending here, I'll let a newbie bring you. Really, Godfather? Really, I'm not in debt, so I'll let you earn more elf coins to pay off your debts. Thank you, Godfather. Don't you have 2 newbies? Su Ruofeng had his eyes on the other 2 newbies. Get lost, you're asking for more, right? I promised to personally guide Lin Mu this morning. I'm going to give the other new player to Old Yet. His resurrection cost a lot of elf coins. Okay, don't give me that new player. Give it all to Old Yet. He has the most debts among us. You finally said something sensible. Chen Yan was very relieved, feeling like a child finally growing up. Don't forget to tell Old Ye that I gave it to him. If he's touched, maybe he'll give me here a cross, hee. Good guy, I thought you were finally acting like a human being, but it turns out you're just thinking about someone else's Pokémon. Give me back my touch, bastard. After Ryan and the other new players calmed down, they handed them over to Chen Yan and the others. It was his idea to use the old to guide the new when he was about to summon new players. It's actually better to let the old players guide the new players than for him to guide them personally. After all, he's just an NPC in the game, and it's not convenient to say a lot of things. Even when he logs off, he has to say that he is returning to the God Realm, which is far less convenient than direct communication between players. And if there are players who do it for him, he doesn't have to worry so much. When he personally guided the 5 old players, he was so nervous, afraid of saying something wrong. Even so, he was almost exposed by Chen Yan's questions. How could he be so relaxed now? Ryan watched the players go away and yawned lazily. Ha! I was too excited last night and didn't sleep much. I should go back and catch up on some sleep. How is it? I didn't lie to you, is this game awesome? Chen Yan said to Lin Mu with a proud look on his face. Awesome! This game is not just awesome, it's awesome. Lin Mu gave a thumbs up. By the way, are there so many NPCs in this game? At this time, they were walking on the streets of the town, and Lin Mu was very surprised to see the bustling crowd around them. A normal game would be good to have dozens of NPCs, but in this game, he saw hundreds of NPCs alone. This is just 2 streets. If we count them this way, there must be thousands of NPCs in this town. What's so surprising about the large number of NPCs? You still don't see the point. You can observe their actions. Hearing this, Lin Mu locked his eyes on the NPCs around him and began to carefully observe their every move. Soon, he discovered the special features of these NPCs. None of these NPCs act according to a fixed program. Could it be that all their actions are random? How many programs do they have to set up? It's too small. As far as I know, these NPCs are all artificial intelligence, no different from real people. Is it true? Thousands of ace? Is this game so extravagant? Of course it's true. They have even developed a virtual reality game. What's the big deal about having some ace? Chen Yan brought up Su Ruo Feng's remarks against him. It was said, but the effect was really good. Lin Mu was also convinced. However, unlike before, he did not speculate this time, but said it after getting accurate information. As for the source of the information, of course he asked Zai, the planner. When he sent Zai the recommended candidates, he also mentioned a few guesses about the game. Zai also admitted that some of the guesses were correct, such as the fact that NPCs are all artificial intelligence. This made Chen Yan very excited, and he repeatedly promised that he would never tell others about the information Zai revealed to him. So he did not tell Lin Mu the specific source of the information. In short, just treat NPCs as real people, don't treat them as you do in other games. I don't. I respect NPCs in other games. Come on, when you were playing a city management game, in order to make more money for the hospital, you connected the city's sewage pipes to the drinking water pipes, and directly drank all the NPCs in the city. Well, isn't that for the video effect? Lin Mu scratched his head awkwardly. Anyway, you must be nice to NPCs, especially Lord Ryan. There's no harm in licking him more. I definitely know I have to lick him, because he has the power to ban accounts. Not only that, he is also the protagonist of this game, and the progress of the game is basically dominated by him, so you must not offend him, otherwise you will definitely have a hard time in the game in the future. Chen Yan warned with a serious expression. Oh my god, is this NPC so powerful? How did you know? Don't worry about how I know, just do it. I won't hurt you. This news is of course one of the guesses approved by Zai's planner, so naturally he couldn't tell Lin Mu how he knew it. Okay, I'll take you to the mission office first. There is a mission that is very suitable for you. Chen Yan took Lin Mu to the mission office, pointed to a mission on the mission board and said. You just like to play management and construction games, so you can complete this mission. Lin Mu stepped forward to look at the mission description, and then his eyes twitched constantly. You call repairing a house management and construction? Chapter 32. Is there a gross relationship between building a house and operating it? Lin Mu complained loudly. Don't you also have to build houses when playing management games? The two are pretty much the same. It's far from that, okay. Besides, in the games I played before I could build a house with just a click of the mouse, but in this game you have to actually do it. Come on, let's play this game just to have a sense of reality. I cut the wood you used to build your house tree by tree. Chen Yan recounted his bitter history when he first entered the game. You're doing well. You can complete the task in the town. Back then we had to go deep into the forest to cut down trees, and we were almost wiped out by the trap bears. And this mission is also an urgent mission, and the reward is a lot of elf coins. If I didn't have to farm, I would have taken this mission long ago. Farming? Can you still farm in this game? Lin Mu keenly grasped the key words. Yes, this game is equivalent to a real world, of course you can farm. The land I planted was a reward after completing the tree cutting task. It seems that there is no tree cutting task now, but you can use elf coins to rent the land. In order to allow new players to farm as soon as possible, Ryan specially issued a new decree. Players can spend a certain amount of elf coins to obtain the right to use farmland. What? You said you have no money? It doesn't matter, our kind Lord also provides loan services without interest, so that new players can also experience the joy of farming. Then why do I need to build a house? Why don't I just go to farming? Lin Mu was a little confused. Because the gophers have all been lent by civilian NPCs, even if you rent the land now, you can't cultivate it in time. You might as well make more money in these 2 days, and your debt will be reduced by then. What's a gopher? It's just a gopher. Oops, I can't explain it to you for a while. Anyway, just believe me. Okay then, I'll take this mission. Although Lin Mu didn't quite understand what Chen Yan said, he knew that Chen Yan would not trick him, so he accepted the task of repairing the house. That's right, you can complete the task first. I have to go on to farm. If you don't understand anything, you can come to me at any time. My farmland is right there. After Chen Yan explained the detailed location of his farmland, he temporarily separated from Lin Mu and returned to the great cause of farming. Lin Mu also picked up the tools and began the task of repairing the house. The situation of other veteran players and newbies is similar to them. After introducing the basic information of the game, old players will recommend newcomers to go to the mission station to practice their skills on a mission. On the one hand, you can earn some elf coins, and on the other hand, you can also enhance newbies' understanding of the game through tasks. Therefore, the old players did not do any tasks today. The number of tasks refreshed every day in the mission station is limited. They still want to let the newcomers do the tasks while they continue to farm. When Ryan woke up and inspected the territory, he was very satisfied with the situation. New and old players are working hard to build their territories, and there are no emergencies. These new players take the game very seriously, and there are no players who act recklessly. It seems that the method of asking old players to recommend closed beta players is indeed effective. These newbies are of high quality. Just when Ryan was happy about this prosperous scene, he suddenly discovered a problem. Both indigenous people and players are using the shoulder-carrying method to collect water for irrigation, which is very inefficient. This made Ryan feel a little confused. That was enough for the indigenous people to do this. Their farming methods were already backward. But players still use this primitive method of obtaining water. After Ryan asked several players, he learned that it was not that they did not want to use more advanced irrigation methods, but that the conditions really did not allow it. There are many rivers in Lane's territory, and the distance between these rivers and farmland is not far. Therefore, for a long time, the indigenous people have carried wooden barrels to carry water from the river for irrigation. Players naturally don't want to use this time-consuming and laborious method. They were trying to find a less laborious way to irrigate. But after they checked the relevant information, they discovered that the irrigation problem was really not that easy to solve. In the real world, people in ancient times often dug a well next to their farmlands so that they could easily obtain water for irrigation. But the players had neither the tools nor the skills to dig wells, so they had no choice but to abandon this method. They also thought of making irrigation tools such as water wheels. But large irrigation tools are not as easy to build as columbines. The players have been tinkering for a long time, let alone making a water wheel. They can't even make a basic human-powered rollover. We can only see if any of the new players are good at carpentry, and let him do it when the time comes. But that is a thing for the future. Now that the seeds have been planted, they are in urgent need of watering. They cannot keep waiting. In the end, there was really no choice but to use the most primitive means to collect water for irrigation like the Aborigines. After learning about the situation, Ryan also fell into deep thought. Irrigation is indeed a big problem. If it cannot be solved in time, players will not be able to do anything else these days, just carry water back and forth for irrigation. This not only delays players' growth time, but also kills their enthusiasm for the game. After all, no one likes to play fetch. The players have thought of all the possible solutions, and Ryan has no better solution for the time being. Is it really necessary to find a carpenter among the new players and wait for him to make irrigation tools? But this method has too much uncertainty. There may not be a carpenter among the new players, and even if there is, he will have to spend a lot of time to make irrigation tools. People can wait, but seeds can't. Hey, problems come one after another, can't I take a breath? Wait. Ryan sighed, and his hands accidentally touched the pokeball on his waist. Oh my brain! How can I be led astray by this group of players? Ryan slapped his head in annoyance. I only thought about the irrigation methods in the real world, and forgot that this is the Pokémon world. What water wheel is there? Isn't it enough to have water-type Pokémon? I just brought back a group of moles to help plow the land 2 days ago, so why don't I think of using Pokémon to irrigate farmland now? As I said, Pokémon is the primary productive force. Thinking of this, Ryan stopped patrolling the territory and turned back to the castle. He first went to the courtyard to see if there were any water-type Pokémon. After checking around, he found that most of them were grass-type and bug-type Pokémon, but there were no water-type Pokémon. It seems that he has to go out to abduct again. No, he has to use his personal charm to conquer a group of Pokémon again. Ryan didn't waste time, he made a simple preparation, then took Bounsweet and the others, and said hello to White by the way. Then he walked out of the territory and began to look for water-type Pokémon. What he didn't know was that a pair of eyes hidden in the dark were staring at him. This person should be the target of the mission. He finally came out of the territory. Arbok, let's follow him. Chiba cool. Chapter 33. Ryan's destination for this trip is Guanyu Lake located in the center of Luying Forest. Although the water area of Guanyu Lake is not large, there are many water Pokémon living there. Among them is the target Ryan wants to abduct. As soon as he entered the forest, Ryan released the flying mantis and told it to stay alert. After all, we are going into the depths of the forest this time, and there are many powerful Pokémon inside, so we have to be careful. Behind him, a figure in black robes was following him closely. I asked how he dared to enter the Luying forest alone. It turns out that there is a tool that can seal the monster. It seems that this time there will be an unexpected fortune. The eyes of the man in black robe were filled with greed. Items that could seal magical beasts were rare and could easily be sold for a good price on the black market. Cha! Don't worry yet. They have just entered the forest and are still very vigilant. Now is not the best time to attack. Just follow them for a while. He comforted the Arbo monster who was already ready to move next to him, and then continued to follow Ryan. Hey? Why did he stop? After following for a while, the man in black robe found that Ryan stopped in a relatively empty place. Just when he was still wondering why Ryan didn't move forward, he suddenly heard Ryan shouting. Flying Mantis, Wings Attack! Before the man in black robe could react, the Flying Mantis attack was already in front of him. Fortunately, the Abo monster reacted in time and helped him resist the attack. At the same time, he spit out a poisonous needle and forced the Flying Mantis back. Only then did the man in black robe realize that he had been discovered a long time ago. He walked out of the hiding place and asked curiously. How did you find me? After seeing that the Flying Mantis attack did not hit the man in black robe, Ryan shook his head with regret. It's a pity that I still thought of catching the thief first, but my pretense was in vain along the way. You didn't understand what I said. Do you know what insect premonition is? The Flying Mantis noticed your presence as soon as it came out. Insect premonition? Does the Flying Mantis have this skill? The man in black robe really couldn't understand what Ryan was talking about, so he said angrily. I don't need to know what insect premonition is, I just know that you are going to die soon. Oh? You want to kill me? Let's go through the level of our Flying Mantis first. Hey! Looking at the Flying Mantis entering combat mode, the man in black robe sneered twice with disdain. You don't have to bluff here. Don't think I can't see that your Flying Mantis is far less powerful than my Abo monster. Although the man in black robe cannot directly see the level of Pokémon like Ryan. But he became a Warcraft user more than 10 years ago, and his years of experience allowed him to roughly estimate the strength gap between Pokémon. That's why you pretended not to notice me all the way. Didn't you just want to let the Flying Mantis take me down before I was prepared? I have to say, your tactics are really good. You almost succeeded, just a little bit. There was a hint of provocation in the man's tone. He wanted to provoke Ryan and expose his flaws. But Ryan didn't mean to be angry or regretful. Instead, he crossed his arms and said slowly. Yeah, it's such a pity that all my acting skills have been wasted. Seeing Ryan's unmoved look, the man in black robe threatened again. Stop pretending to be calm here, you are dead today. But if you can kneel down and beg for mercy now, and then give me the item that can seal the monster with both hands, I can consider keeping your body intact. Ah, yes, yes, since you are so confident that you can kill me, why are you still talking nonsense here? Come over here and beat me. Ryan waved to the man in black robe with a teasing smile on his face. This time, the man in black robe was somewhat off guard, and he said viciously. Okay. You've got the guts. I want to see if your mouth can still be as hard as it is now when the Abo monster breaks your bones one by one. Abo monster, acid bomb. The man in black robe directly let the Abo monster attack. Chiba cool. The Arbo monster opened its mouth wide and spat out several balls of green liquid towards the Flying Mantis. A flash of lightning. Ryan also gave the order. The Flying Mantis was seen dodging the acid bomb at extremely fast speed, and then rushed towards the Arbor monster. Then use split. After the Flying Mantis approached the Arbo monster with the speed of a flash of lightning, he raised his twin scythes high and slashed downwards. I'm just waiting for you to get close. The man in black robe secretly smiled. Arbor, tie it up with a tight tie. Abo monster withstood the attack of the Flying Mantis, and then tied up the Flying Mantis with its long body. Hey! The Flying Mantis wanted to break free from the shackles of the Arbo monster, but there was a huge difference in their strength. Instead, they were tied tighter and tighter, and they couldn't help but scream in pain. It was a miscalculation, I shouldn't have let the flying mantis get close to the abo monster. Ryan felt very upset when he saw the painful look of the flying mantis. He still had too little experience. When he was playing Pokémon games in his previous life, he never played against other players. Moreover, the battles in the game are all turn-based. You hit me first, and then I hit you again. Compared with games, there are many changes in combat in reality, which greatly tests the commander's adaptability. But Ryan had hardly fought since he came to this world, and the only time he had fought was when he surrounded and beat up the circle bear. He had never fought against a monster user before, and now he suffered from his lack of experience, putting Scyther in danger. Use the Flame Fang to finish it off. The man in black robes didn't care what Ryan was thinking, he just wanted to get rid of Scyther. Flames burst out of Arbok's mouth, and he bit Scyther fiercely. When it was about to bite Scyther, a ball hit its body, and then it turned into a red light and was sucked into the ball. Although it quickly broke free, Scyther had already escaped. You actually still have a prop that can seal monsters. The man in black robes looked incredulous, and at the same time a little painful. In his opinion, the sealing prop on Ryan's body was already his, and now one was scrapped, which meant that he would lose a lot of money. Boy, you should know that the seal item can only be used once, you will never hit it again next time. I don't know if you have any seal items on you. If you do, it's better to give them all to me instead of throwing them away. Maybe I will let you live. Ryan understood what the black-robed man meant. In the case of surprise, the Pokémon can be easily hit by the Pokeball, but once the opponent is prepared, throwing the Pokeball again will be useless. Even the IQ of the symbols, which is almost zero after the Berserk, can easily defend the Pokeball after suffering 2 losses. Not to mention this flexible and experienced Arbok. Hey, I wanted to exercise my command ability, but I almost messed it up. It seems that I really don't have the talent of a trainer. Ryan sighed, then took out a Pokeball from his waist. I do have a prop that can seal the monsters, but unfortunately I can't give it to you because it already has a master. Come out. Kokodora. Kwaku. What? The black-robed man widened his eyes. He didn't expect Ryan to have a second Pokémon. The intelligence clearly said that he only had one Scyther. He quickly estimated Kokodora's strength, and when he found that its strength was not as good as Scyther, he breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this Kokodora is not strong. Although its attributes are somewhat restrained by Arbok, the advantage is still mine. Then he saw Ryan took out another Pokeball. It shouldn't be. The black-robed man began to sweat. I saw Ryan gently throw the Pokeball forward. Come out, Circle Bear. Roar. How many monsters do you have? The black-robed man was completely broken. Chapter 34. Looking at the 3 menacing Pokémon in front of him, the man in black robes wished he could kill the broker who gave him the information right now. What kind of bullshit information is this? It is said that the target of the mission is only a flying mantis, and its strength is far inferior to him. The results of it? There are 3 of them. Among them, the strength of the circle bear is comparable to that of the abo monster. How can he fight against it? The man in black robe was sweating all over his body. He swallowed hard and said to Ryan in a sullen voice. It doesn't matter if you fight too much or too little. If you have the ability, challenge me in a one-on-one battle. You can even fight in a wheel battle. You don't dare, right? At this point, he could only gamble on Ryan's youth and vigor, and take advantage of his own advantages to challenge him in a one-on-one battle. In this way, he still has the opportunity to fight Ryan with his many years of combat experience, and then wait for an opportunity to escape. Okay, I can challenge you to a duel. Ryan nodded, indicating that he could challenge him in a duel. When the man in black robe saw Ryan nodding in agreement, the corners of his mouth turned up crazily. He was still young and agreed after a little excitement. Before he could be happy for long, he heard Ryan continue to say. Either 3 of us will challenge you alone, or one of us will challenge 3 of us. It's your choice. The smile of the man in black robe instantly solidified on his face. Are you kidding me? He shouted angrily. How can this be called teasing you? This should be called a righteous gang fight. Circle the bear and use split. Ryan directly ordered the circle bear to attack. Roar. The circle bear roared and attacked the arbor monster. Get out of the way. The man in black robe ordered anxiously. The arbo monster nimbly dodged to the side and avoided the attack of the circle bear. Flying mantis, 2 combos. The flying mantis attacked immediately, and now the abo monster had no way to avoid it, and was knocked away heavily. Damn it! Use acid bombs to push them back first. Facing the stormy attacks of the two Pokémon, the man in black robe wanted to distance himself first. Cocodora, help block it. Quaquo. Cocodora pulled her calf forward and stood directly in front of the two Pokémon. The green acid hit its body without causing any damage. Damn it, Cocodora is immune to poison damage, so she can only use moves with other attributes. But Arbor itself is a poison-type Pokémon, and now it cannot use poison-type skills, which undoubtedly blocks more than half of its strength. The man in black robe also knew this very well, so he planned to use other moves to deal with Cocodora first. Charge over! Use Crush on Cocodora! The Arbo monster rushed towards Cocodora like an arrow from a string, aimed at its body and bit it hard. Get hard! A metallic light flashed from Cocodora's body. Bang! Arbor felt as if he had bitten a piece of steel, and his two fangs were almost knocked out. Before it could open its mouth, a huge bear paw slapped it. Bang! The Arbo monster was shot out again and hit the tree heavily. Cha! It howled in pain and lay on the ground for a long time, unable to get up. The man in black robe panicked when he saw that Monster Abo had been defeated. He walked quickly to the Abo monster and kicked it hard with his foot. Get up quickly, don't lie on the ground and pretend to be dead. He fell down after just enduring such a small attack. What a waste! Ryan couldn't stand it anymore and said to the flying mantis. Bring that man here, I have something to ask him. Hey! The flying mantis nodded and flew towards the man in black robe. The man in black robe saw the flying mantis flying towards him and thought it was coming to kill him. He took a few steps back in panic, and then said with a fierce expression. You forced me to do this. He took out a piece of black crystal and forced it into the mouth of the Abo monster. After swallowing the black crystal, the Abo monster's eyes gradually filled with blood. Chiba cool! It stood upright, roared towards the sky, and then crashed straight into the flying mantis. Even though the flying mantis struck him with a slash, he didn't flinch at all, as if he couldn't feel the pain. It opened its big mouth and bit the flying mantis hard, directly injuring it severely. Just when it was about to launch an attack, the circle bear came to support in time, tore the Arbor monster off and threw it heavily to the ground. But the Arbor monster quickly got up again and sprayed the solution towards the circle bear. This time without Ryan's command, Cocodora ran in front of the circle bear and resisted the attack for it. Then a head hammer hit the Arbo monster, forcing it back a few steps. The four Pokémon immediately fought together. Faced with such a chaotic scene, Ryan didn't know how to direct for a while. At this time, the man in black robe sneaked up behind Ryan. In his hand he held a dagger quenched with Abo's poison. I can't defeat your monster, so why can't I defeat you? He also understands the principle of catching the thief first. The man in black robe quietly leaned towards Ryan. It's close, it's just a little far away. As the distance got closer, his expression gradually became ferocious and terrifying. But then Ryan suddenly turned around and looked at him with a sneer, as if he was looking at a clown. Why were you discovered again? The man in black robe shouted angrily. Brother, I'm not blind. How can I not see you as a living person? Ryan was speechless. You were wearing a black robe and walking around among the green plants in broad daylight. It was hard not to see you. I really used the black robe as an invisibility cloak. So what if I find out? You don't have a monster around you now. With your little arms and legs, it would be easier for me to kill you than to kill Magikarp. The man in black robe said viciously, picked up the dagger and rushed towards Ryan. Hey, why bother? Ryan shook his head, and then took out another elf ball from his waist. The man in black robe stopped when he saw this, and said with a slight twitch in his mouth. Don't tell me you still have a monster. Congratulations on your correct answer. Let's reward you with a sweet Zuzu high-speed spin. Ryan threw the elf ball, and Bounsweet's figure was revealed with the white light. As soon as it came out, it hit the right hand of the man in black robe and knocked his dagger directly. Then he turned around and hit the black-robed man's stomach again. Ah! The man in black robe screamed, clutching his stomach and kneeling on the ground, feeling that his bile was about to be knocked out. Even though Bounsweet's current level is not high, its attacks are not something that ordinary humans can withstand. After all, not everyone is from Zhengzhen town. Why do you have so many monsters? The man in black robe asked with confusion. It can be said that he went through a lot of hardships in order to obtain his first warcraft. First, when he was stealing snake eggs, he was discovered by the Arbo monster. He was chased all the way and almost died from its venom. Then he spent all his savings to find professionals to hatch snake eggs, and finally borrowed money to build a warcraft device, and then he had his first warcraft. He has been working hard to kill people on missions over the years. He just wants to make some money to build a World of Warcraft device to catch the second warcraft after paying off the debt. But the man in front of him already had 4 monsters at such a young age. How willing he was. Maybe it's because I'm more charming. If they insist on following me, there's nothing I can do about it. Ryan spread his hands and said. After hearing this, the man in black robe felt a lump in his heart, and then a mouthful of old blood spurted out. You and I. He pointed at Ryan with trembling fingers, not knowing what to say to describe his current mood. It's a pity that if he had watched the Romance of the Three Kingdoms on Earth, he would know what to say. He will definitely yell that classic line at Ryan. I have never seen anyone so shameless. Chapter 35. Ryan ignored the depressed man in black robe and turned his attention to the battlefield. 4 Pokémon are fighting together. The situation was definitely dominated by the Circle Bears, but Abo's fearless attack also caused them considerable damage. Chiba cool. The Arbo monster was knocked away by the Circle Bear again. It struggled to straighten up, glanced at the man in black robe not far away, and then rushed towards the 3 Pokémon in front. But its body had reached its limit. Just a few steps after rushing out, it fell to the ground and became completely motionless. After confirming that the Arbor monster was incapable of fighting, Ryan asked the Circle Bear to bring it over. Looking at the dying Arbor monster, Ryan took out a good medicine to treat its injuries. It's useless. Don't waste your efforts. You can't save it. The man in black robe said in a weak voice from the side. Ryan ignored the man in black robe and kept applying medicine to the Arbor monster. That black crystal stone has drained its body dry. It is now exhausted. No matter how much medicine you use, it will be useless. After hearing this, Ryan stopped applying the medicine. Did you know in advance that it would die after eating the black crystal? The man in black robe stood up holding his stomach and said in an indifferent tone. Of course I know. When the broker handed me the black crystal, he told me all the functions and consequences. According to what he said, putting this black crystal stone on the monster will make it enter a violent state and its strength will be significantly improved. If you feed it directly to the monster, its strength will skyrocket, but the price is that it will die after exiting the violent state. Ryan looked at the lifeless Arbor monster in front of him, turned around and kicked the man in black robe to the ground, and asked him angrily. Since you know the consequences, why do you still feed it? Doesn't it mean that if you put it on your body, it will go berserk? Do you really want it to die? The man in black robe lay on the ground and sneered a few times. The little strength I put on my body to improve it is not enough at all. Only by feeding the crystal to Monster Abo can I have a chance to fight you, and... He sat up suddenly and said with a ferocious expression. I know you still have tools that can seal the monster. Instead of letting it be sealed alive by you and then help you, it's better to just let it die. What do you think the Arbor monster is? A disposable tool? If not. The man in black robe asked rhetorically. Warcraft is just a fighting tool for humans, no different from those swords. I would rather break the sword with my own hands than leave it to others as a trophy. He then said to Ryan. On the other hand, you, as a lord, are so naive and can only be emotionally invested in your fighting tools. You actually want to save a monster that tried to kill you before. It's really ridiculous. Ryan gradually calmed down his anger. He stared at the man in black robe and said. I saved Monster Abo just because I didn't want it to die in your hands like this. Besides, if it wanted to kill me, it must have obeyed your order. You keep saying that you treat it as a tool, but you don't know that your so-called tool has deep feelings for you. The man in black robe snorted coldly, not believing what Ryan said. You don't believe it? That's right. People like you definitely can't understand the emotions of Warcraft. But if you think about it carefully, after the Arbo monster swallowed the black crystal, he almost lost his mind and wanted to destroy everything crazily. You were the closest to it at that time, but it didn't attack you. Instead, it fought with the trap bears without fear of life and death. Wasn't it just to give you a chance to escape? Ryan's words made the man in black robe freeze on the spot. He recalled the scene just now, and indeed, as Ryan said, the Arbo monster had no intention of attacking him. Moreover, the Arbo monster knew that it would die after eating the crystal. When the broker explained the functions and consequences of the black crystal, it was right next to it, and it could hear this information. But when it was stuffed with crystal stones, it didn't resist and swallowed the crystal very cooperatively, but there was a little reluctance in its eyes. Thinking of this, the body of the man in black began to tremble. Impossible! How can a Warcraft have feelings for humans? It's just a tool. It should hate me. I forced it to swallow the crystal. How could it die for me? Absolutely impossible! He shouted loudly, and the words he spoke seemed to be refuting Ryan, but also seemed to be comforting himself. Seeing him like this, Ryan didn't say anything, but stood aside quietly waiting for him to vent his emotions. The man in black robe slowly calmed down. He suddenly raised his head and looked at Ryan with red eyes. I know that I will definitely die, and I also know that you have questions to ask me. As long as you promise me one thing, I can tell you everything I know. You say. Please find a place to bury the Arbo monster. I don't want it to die in the wilderness. No more requests. Gone. Okay, I promise you. Ryan looked at the man in black robe who was already determined to die, and did not ask him why he made such a request. Regardless of whether he felt guilty about the Abo monster or whether he had a profound realization before his death, none of these could change the established facts. Can I ask you a question now? You can ask, but I don't know much. Who asked you to kill me? Ryan asked the most critical question first. I don't know. People in our line of work communicate with the task issuer through brokers, and we don't know their identity information. Where did you get that black crystal? The person who issued the task gave it to me through a broker, saying that I could kill you without any mistakes. Where did you accept the task? In the underground black market in Guanhai City, there is a place where assassin tasks are issued. You? Ryan asked a few more questions, but as the black-robed man said, he didn't know much information, and Ryan didn't get the answer he wanted. He thought that this black-robed man was one of the people who caused the beast tide before. It turned out to be just a killer hired by those people. It seems that the group of black-robed people hid very deeply, and they had a strong hostility towards him, otherwise they would not have hired killers to attack him. But this is not a bad thing. At least he knew that the group of black-robed people wanted to kill him, and he could catch those people's feet from this. Okay, I told you everything I know, give me a quick death. The black-robed man closed his eyes. Ryan didn't say anything else. He waved his hand, signaling Scythe to finish him off. Scythe came to the black-robed man and raised the sickle high. At the moment it swung down, the black-robed man suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Arbok lying beside him. His mind couldn't help but recall the time they had spent together before. Eating together, training together, doing missions and killing people together. He always thought he was lonely and would never have feelings. Until now, he realized that he was not lonely, and that he had already had feelings. Unfortunately, it seemed a little late to understand. But it didn't matter. He would see Arbok again soon, and he would apologize to it properly then. I hope Arbok can forgive him. As the sickle fell, the black-robed man fell into darkness. Looking at the fallen black-robed man, Ryan was silent for a long time, and then said to the Pokémon beside him. Let's find a suitable place to bury them together. After all, Arbok still wants to be with his master. Chapter 36. After burying the black-robed man and Arbok, Ryan continued to head towards Moon Lake. After entering the depths of the forest, there were more Pokémon around. Several Rattatas were chasing and playing with each other in the grass, and accidentally bumped into the resting sedge. Among the flowers, Butterfree and 3 bees were busy collecting nectar. The long-tailed monster swinging on the tree exerted too much force and shook off a hazelnut ball. The hazelnut ball exploded instantly after falling to the ground, and the huge sound scared the Bobos into the air. Looking at these Pokémon of all shapes and sizes, Ryan's originally depressed mood became much better. His steps became lighter. After passing through a bush, Ryan finally saw Moon Lake. Oh my god, this is so beautiful! The clear lake surface was rippling under the breeze, and the light blue lake water sparkled under the sunlight, like a dazzling sapphire. The lake reflects the blue sky and white clouds like a mirror, and there seems to be another sky in the center of the lake, which makes people feel upside down. If it is night, the bright moonlight will be clearly projected on the water surface, and the bright moon in the sky can be seen from the lake. This is also the origin of the name of Guanyu Lake. Ryan also released Bounsweet and Cocodora so that they can also see this beautiful scenery. As for the circular bear, it is better to wait and release it. Its momentum is too strong and it is easy to scare away all the Pokémon. Menji. Quaquo. The two little guys were also stunned by the scenery in front of them and ran to the lake excitedly. Wait for me, Scyther, let's follow. Ryan followed helplessly, he hadn't figured out how to abduct the water Pokémon. When he arrived at the lake, Ryan saw many water Pokémon. Among them were his two targets, Mosquito and Marill. Ryan also chose these two Pokémon after careful consideration. Although there are many water-type Pokémon, few are suitable for irrigating farmland. First of all, we have to exclude Pokémon that can only survive in water, such as Magikarp and Magikarp. Needless to say, they can't go ashore, let alone irrigate farmland. So we have to find amphibious water-type Pokémon. Among this type of Pokémon, the most suitable ones are undoubtedly Squirtle and Aquascaff, one of the 3 starter Pokémon. But they are rare and rarely seen. Even if you meet 1 or 2, it is not enough to irrigate the large farmland in the territory. Ryan thought of Slowpoke again. Not only can they move on the ground, but their tails are also rare delicacies. At that time, they can water the farmland and have delicious food to enjoy. It is a good thing. But he quickly gave up this idea for a simple reason: Slowpoke is too stupid. Pokémon like Slowpoke, as the name suggests, are in a daze 24 hours a day. Ryan couldn't communicate with them at all, so naturally he couldn't bring them back to the territory. Even if we spend a lot of time to bring them back to the territory, they are unlikely to listen to human commands to water the farmland. They will most likely just stay there in a daze. The same is true for Psyduck. Psyduck is very cute, but it suffers from headaches and stays in a daze every day. It doesn't do anything at ordinary times, let alone water the farmland on time. After excluding these Pokémon, there are actually very few options. They must be able to walk on the ground, listen to human commands, and be born with the water gun move. The most important thing is that there are more of them and they can be found around Guanyu Lake. The ones that can meet the above points are the Mosquito and Marill. There is no need to say more about Marill, as it does not meet any of the above conditions. Although the Mosquito has a little difficulty walking, it yearns for land and is happy to walk on the ground. Therefore, the two of them are the most suitable water Pokémon for irrigating farmland. The question now is how to lure them back to the territory. In the past, Ryan used food to lure Pokémon, whether it was Diglett or Cocodora. But Guanyu Lake is rich in resources and food is sufficient, so Pokémon here don't have to worry about food. Although Ryan's Pokémon food is delicious, they will not leave their homes where they have lived for a long time just for a momentary appetite. So the method of abduction with food is not feasible. But Ryan has other ways. He took out a small stove from his backpack and put a few pieces of incense in it. After lighting it, he put the small stove not far from Marill. As the fragrance drifted, Marill soon smelled it. They were attracted by the fragrance and looked at the small stove on the stone with curiosity. The smell of this thing is not only good, but also can arouse the special desires in their bodies, making them feel very comfortable. Ryan looked at the intoxicated faces of Marill, knew that the time was almost right, and walked out from behind the stone. The Marilus were naturally startled and turned around to run away, but they were reluctant to leave the fragrance. Seeing the Marilus' hesitation, Ryan quickly calmed them down. "Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you, I just want to discuss something with you." Looking at Ryan, who raised his hands and smiled, the Marilus looked at each other and felt that this human really had no ill intentions, so they decided to listen to what he had to say. "You must have smelled this fragrance, which is emitted by the tied incense. It can increase your reproduction rate. In simple terms, it makes it easier for you to lay eggs." "Rel. Of course it's true. You should be able to feel it yourself." The Marills nodded. They did feel it before. Then Ryan began to deceive them, saying that as long as the Marills were willing to follow him, these incense would be enough. And there would be enough food to enjoy every day, and they didn't have to go to the bottom of the lake to find water plants to eat. All they had to do was to water the farmland, and they didn't have to do anything else. If they found that Ryan failed to do what he said above, the Marills could leave at any time, and he would never stop them. Such generous conditions naturally touched the Marills, especially the incense, which was too tempting for them. In this Pokémon world, the eggs laid by Marill can only hatch Lolili, and cannot directly hatch Marill as in the game. Of course, the requirements for laying eggs are not as strict as in the game. They can lay eggs without carrying tied incense. It's just that the chance of laying eggs is relatively low, which means it's not easy to produce offspring. If it weren't for the huge base of Meryl, and the fact that some places have treasures similar to tied incense, their number would probably be less than the 3 major families. There are no treasures similar to tied incense around Guanyu Lake, and the reproduction rate of Meryl living here is very low, so tied incense is very attractive to them. As for where the tied incense in Ryan's hand came from, this has to start with his father, but the story is too long, so we'll skip it directly. In short, Ryan's father has been a lord for decades, so naturally he has some family background. The formula of tied incense is one of them, which is also an important reason why Ryan targeted Meryl. What do you think? With this incense, you can give birth to more babies in the future. Ryan always felt that what he said was a bit strange, but the effect was really good. After discussing for a while, the group of Meryl finally agreed to Ryan's invitation. Very good, Meryl succeeded. Next target, prepare to capture the mosquito-repellent tadpole. Chapter 37. The difficulty of attacking the mosquito coil tadpoles is much greater than that of Meryl. When luring Meryl, you can at least use the tied incense to lure them. But the mosquito coil tadpoles don't like anything in particular, and Pokémon food is not very tempting to them. Ryan didn't even have a chance to contact them. As soon as he approached, the mosquito coil tadpoles jumped into the lake. He didn't even have a chance to open his mouth to fool him. Could it be that he had to give up? Ryan looked at the Meryls behind him. Their number could not meet the irrigation needs of the territory's farmland. Just when Ryan was at a loss, things took a turn for the better. Suddenly a water gun attacked Scyther. Scyther reacted quickly and slashed the water directly. Oh my god, who is attacking? Ryan looked in the direction of the water gun. Is this Mosquito Coil June? I was wondering why these mosquito coil tadpoles were running so fast. It turns out they went back to complain to their big brother. There was a mosquito coil floating on the lake, and there were more than a dozen mosquito coil tadpoles around it. Yobo! The mosquito coil looked at Ryan and the others angrily, and his eyes seemed to say, "You are the one bullying my little brother?" Ryan was about to explain, but he swallowed the words back. Because he suddenly thought of a way to lure these mosquito coil tadpoles. He deliberately put on a disdainful expression and challenged Mosquito. "I am bullying your little brother, what can you do to me? No wonder these mosquito tadpoles are so timid, what kind of boss you have, what kind of little brother you have. You only dare to sneak attack in the water, your courage is even smaller than that of a cowardly insect, if you have the ability, come ashore and beat me." Yobo! Mosquito couldn't stand this kind of stimulation, it shouted angrily. Then it swam quickly to the shore and fired a foam beam at Ryan. "Chop it!" Spy Mantis stood in front of Ryan, and with a wave of his arms, he chopped all the foam. "Use lightning to get close to it." Ryan used the tactics he used to fight Arbok before. There was no way, Spy Mantis didn't have a long-range attack method now, so it could only fight in close combat. Fortunately, Mosquito didn't have a binding move like Arbok. Then use the combo. After approaching Mosquito, Scyther launched an attack. Mosquito was not to be outdone, and gathered a wave of energy in his white glove-like hands, and then slapped them hard. The two moves collided, stirring up a wave of air, which shook them back a few steps. The strength of the two Pokémon seemed to be similar. But in fact, Scyther's combat power was a little higher than Mosquito. In terms of level, Scyther had risen to level 29 after the first two battles, and was not far from level 30. And Mosquito was only level 26. The reason why they were able to fight evenly was because Scyther was injured in the battle with Arbok. Although Ryan used the medicine to restore Scyther to some of its status, its strength was definitely reduced. Stare. Seeing that Scyther's attack could not do anything to the opponent, Ryan decided to weaken Mosquito's defense first. Scyther stared at Mosquito with sharp eyes. The Mosquito Incense King was so scared that he wanted to shrink his neck, but unfortunately he had no neck, so he could only shrink his eyes. But then he reacted and realized that he was actually scared by a look. Yobo! The angry Mosquito Incense King released a special energy with the spiral pattern on his abdomen. "You want to glare at me, so I'll let you glare enough." "Spy Mantis, don't look at the pattern on its abdomen," Ryan reminded hurriedly. This Mosquito Incense King has a high combat intelligence. He actually knows how to use hypnosis to counter the glare. However, the hit rate of hypnosis is not high, and Spy Mantis closed its eyes in advance and prepared for it, so it was not hypnotized. But this also gave the Mosquito Incense King a chance to attack. It seized the opportunity when Spy Mantis closed its eyes and threw out a few balls of mud, which successfully hit. In the end, nothing happened, and Spy Mantis was not hurt at all. Yobo! The Mosquito Incense King widened his already protruding eyes and looked at Spy Mantis with a puzzled face. It didn't understand why its attack failed to cause damage to Scyther. Well, I just praised you for your combat wisdom, and you used ground-type moves to attack flying-type Pokémon. Aren't you just slapping me in the face? Ryan covered his forehead helplessly. But it's not Mosquito's fault. It usually deals with Pokémon in the lake and has never fought with flying-type Pokémon. Wing attack. While Mosquito was stunned, Ryan commanded Scyther to attack again. When Scyther came in front of Mosquito, it recovered and wanted to fight back in a hurry, but it was too late. Swish! It took this attack hard and staggered back a few steps. Then use Split. Scyther took advantage of the victory and hit Mosquito with a slash. Yobo! Mosquito fell heavily to the ground and cried out in pain. Yo! The mosquito-repellent tadpoles watching the battle in the lake saw that their boss had been knocked down, and they all ran ashore and stood in front of Mr. Mosquito repellent. They all glared at Ryan and the flying mantis. They gathered energy in their mouths and were about to fire water guns at Ryan and the others when they were stopped by Mr. Mosquito repellent, who stood up. Mr. Mosquito repellent shouted something to them and waved for them to get out of the way. Although the mosquito-repellent tadpoles were worried about Mr. Mosquito repellent, they had no choice but to listen to him and had no choice but to step aside. Upon seeing this, Ryan also took his hands away from his waist. He was almost about to release the trap bear just now. It seems that this mosquito-repellent man still cares about face and does not want other Pokémon to hinder his battle. And those mosquito-repellent tadpoles also listened to it, which made Ryan feel relieved. Next, as long as he defeats Mr. Mosquito repellent and subdues him, his abduction plan will basically be successful. That's right, conquering the mosquito-repellent Incense King was the method he came up with to defeat the mosquito-repellent tadpoles. He thought of this method when he saw those mosquito-repellent tadpoles surrounding Mr. Mosquito repellent, headed by him. First provoke Mr. Mosquito repellent and lure it ashore, and then let the flying praying mantis, which is about the same strength as it, fight with it. Judging from the character shown by Mr. Mosquito, it is very likely that it will fight Flying Mantis in a one-on-one fight and will not allow other Pokémon to participate in the battle. This is also the reason why Ryan doesn't need to trap the bear. The mosquito repellent is not stupid. If the difference in strength is too big, it will not challenge you in a one-on-one fight. By defeating the mosquito repellent Incense King in a duel, it will be less likely to resist. Then let it persuade the tadpoles to go with it. The mosquito-repellent tadpoles always look up to the mosquito-repellent tadpoles, so they will naturally listen to it, and they will be able to successfully attack the mosquito-repellent tadpoles. Thinking of this, Ryan shouted to Mr. Mosquito repellent. Can you continue to fight? Or just admit defeat? Yobo! Never admit defeat. Mr. Mosquito repellent assumed a fighting stance. But I don't think this fight is interesting, so I might as well just stop fighting. Ryan deliberately acted like he didn't want to fight anymore. Yobo! Yobo! Seeing Ryan like this, Mr. Mosquito repellent suddenly became anxious. You let the flying praying mantis chop me twice, and then said you won't fight. Who can bear this? Why don't you ask me to come back and say I won't fight again? It's not impossible if you insist on fighting, but you have to add a condition. If you lose, you have to follow me and be my partner. Yobo! Mr. Mosquito repellent, who was already a little bit wet, nodded and agreed without thinking. Then he sprayed a water gun at the flying mantis. Another sneak attack, right? Flying mantis, use shadow clone. The flying mantis transformed into several shadows at an extremely fast speed and avoided the water gun attack. A flash of lightning. Ryan still used the same tactics, but this time there were a few more clones around flying mantis. This made it even more difficult for Mr. Mosquito repellent to react, so he had to slap randomly, only to hit a shadow. Use continuous slash. The true form of flying mantis has arrived behind Mr. Mosquito repellent. It raised its front blade and slashed downwards. The powerful force made Mr. Mosquito repellent fall forward, but it knew that if it fell to the ground, it would be attacked continuously by the flying mantis. It tried hard to stabilize its body, turned around and slapped the flying mantis back. Then he stretched out his hands and released the foam light. A large amount of bubbles destroyed the shadows of the flying mantis one by one. You are quite capable, but your reaction can no longer keep up with the speed of the flying mantis. You can only be beaten passively. Flying mantis, attack with your wings. The flying mantis flapped its wings and attacked Mr. Mosquito repellent again. Mr. Mosquito repellent fired several water guns at the flying mantis, but the flying mantis dodged them one by one. As Ryan said, it is now seriously injured, its reaction speed is not as fast as before, and even its skills are somewhat inaccurate. Bang! The wing attack accurately hit Mr. Mosquito repellent. It failed to stabilize its body this time and fell heavily to the ground. But it quickly got up again and started beating its belly with both hands. As it struck, the sky gradually became gloomy, and soon it started to rain heavily. It turns out you're praying for rain. I thought you would have a bulging stomach at level 26. It's true that every Pokémon's movements for praying for rain are different. Looking at the rain falling from the sky, Ryan felt both happy and worried. What makes me happy is that this mosquito repellent incense can actually be used to pray for rain. This move is very suitable for irrigating farmland, and it is much better than moves such as water guns. The worry is that in this rainy environment, the speed of the flying mantis will be greatly restricted. On the other hand, mosquito repellent incense is like a fish in water. Since Mr. Mosquito repellent has to force himself to pray for rain when he is so seriously injured, shouldn't its characteristics be that? You'll know after you try it. Flying mantis, use lightning flash. The flying mantis rushed forward, but the attack was easily dodged by Mr. Mosquito repellent. As expected, it's the characteristic of leisurely travel. Now it's going to be troublesome. Looking at Mr. Mosquito repellent, whose speed had obviously improved, Ryan's heart sank. The worst had happened. Pokémon with the ability to swim freely will have their speed greatly increased in rainy weather. In the game, it is increased by 2 times. There is no specific value in reality, but judging from the speed of Mosquito Lord dodging the attack just now, it is probably higher. Mosquito Lord's speed has increased, but Scythe's speed has decreased. The rain wet Scythe's wings, severely limiting its flying speed. This increase and decrease even made Mosquito Lord's speed exceed Scythe's. Although Mosquito Lord is now seriously injured, as long as it is attacked once more, it can be completely knocked down. But Scythe's condition is not good either, and it still has old injuries. And in this weather, it is difficult for it to hit Mosquito Lord. It seems that we can only fight, Scythe, you will be like this for a while. Ryan whispered to Scythe's tactics. Are you sure you can hold on? Ryan asked at last. Yo. Scythe nodded, indicating that he had no problem. Okay. Use shadow clones. Scythe moved quickly around Mosquito Lord and created clones. But due to the reduced speed, it only created 2 clones this time. 3 flying mantises surrounded Mosquito Lord and attacked him at the same time. Mosquito Lord still used the previous method to crack it. It raised its hands and released a bubble beam towards the flying mantis in front of it. The flying mantis in front did not dodge and disappeared after being hit by the bubble. It turned around and fired bubbles to the side. The flying mantis on the side did not dodge either. It seems that the real body is behind it. Mosquito Lord turned around without hesitation and used the bubble beam with all his strength at the flying mantis behind him. The bubble hit the flying mantis behind him, and it disappeared after turning into an afterimage. Yobo! The one behind him was not either, so where did the flying mantis go? Mosquito Lord was very puzzled. Could it be? Mosquito Lord hurriedly turned to the side, but the sickle of the flying mantis was already in front of him. Give it the final blow with the split. Accompanied by Ryan's shout, Scyther's double blade slashed fiercely on Mosquito Lord, knocking it down completely. Hey! Finally succeeded. Looking at Mosquito Lord lying on the ground and losing his ability to fight, Ryan breathed a sigh of relief and finally defeated it. The tactics he arranged for Scyther was actually very simple, that is, to use the real body to pretend to be a shadow to mislead Mosquito Lord. After suffering from the loss of the shadow clone last time, Mosquito Lord is likely to form a fixed mindset. In its view, shadows will not dodge attacks, only the real body will dodge. So Ryan told Scyther not to dodge Mosquito Lord's attack, rush forward against the bubble beam, and exchange injuries for injuries. Anyway, as long as Mosquito Lord can be hit once, it can be knocked down. Ryan also specifically asked Scyther if he could withstand an attack, and only decided to implement this tactic after getting a positive answer. In fact, this tactic can only fool simple Pokémon. As long as there is a human commander, he can tell the difference between the shadow and the real body in the rain. After all, rain will pass through the shadow and can only fall on the real body. But no matter what, Ryan and his team won this battle. After mosquito repellent fell, the rain gradually became smaller and finally stopped completely. A ray of sunlight broke through the dark clouds and shone on Ryan's face. He squinted and looked up at the sun, feeling very happy. It's still better to have a sunny day. Let's go, Scyther, go see if our future companions are seriously injured. Chapter 38. Ryan was about to approach Mosquito Lord to check his injuries. The tadpoles rushed over and stood in front of Mosquito Lord. They were very scared, after all, the humans in front of them had knocked down their boss. But in order to protect Mosquito Lord, they still stood up straight and stared at Ryan with pretended fierce eyes. You are really loyal to Mosquito Lord. Don't worry, I won't hurt it. I just want to heal it. Ryan shook the medicine in his hand. But the tadpoles still stood there and refused to let Ryan touch Mosquito Lord. You beat our boss like this, and you still say you won't hurt it. Who believes it? Looking at this group of stubborn little guys, Ryan felt helpless, and he didn't have a good solution for a while. You can't knock down all these tadpoles, then Mosquito Lord will definitely not want to follow him. Yobo! Just when the two sides were in a stalemate, the mosquito repellent king lying on the ground woke up. It called out weakly twice, signaling the mosquito repellent tadpoles to get out of the way. The mosquito repellent tadpoles looked at each other. Although they were reluctant, the boss had spoken, so they had to give up their positions to Ryan. Ryan walked to the side of the mosquito repellent king and squatted down to give it medicine. After the medicine was used, Ryan took out the Pokeball and said to the mosquito repellent king. Although you promised to be my companion after being defeated, I will still respect your wishes. If you are willing to be my companion, touch this sealing item. If you are not willing, I will not force you. The mosquito repellent king looked at Ryan with a sincere face, and recalled the scene of Ryan concentrating on giving it medicine just now, and his heart was inevitably touched. It really wanted to be Ryan's companion, after all, it had agreed to his conditions before. And Ryan's strength was also recognized by it. But it still worried about the mosquito tadpoles. If it went with Ryan, what would happen to these mosquito tadpoles? Ryan saw that Mosquito King was reluctant to part with the mosquito tadpoles, and he was immediately happy. Isn't this a coincidence? His target is this group of mosquito tadpoles. He quickly said. If you are worried about these mosquito tadpoles, I can take them with me. Yobo! Really? Of course it's true. I am also a lord. It's easy to raise a dozen mosquito tadpoles. Ryan patted his chest and promised. Mosquito King was very moved. He didn't expect that the human in front of him would take in these mosquito tadpoles for him. This person is quite nice. But he still felt a little sorry, always feeling that he had added a burden to Ryan. The human in front of him seemed to see his thoughts, and then said to him. You don't have to feel embarrassed. I didn't raise them for nothing. When the time comes, I will need them to help irrigate the farmland with water guns. Hearing this, Mosquito King felt much more at ease. It's good to be able to help, so that there is no need to worry that Ryan will abandon them. And irrigation is too simple for them. It's just spraying water on the ground. They usually spray water on each other when they play. So it began to ask the mosquitoes around it if they were willing to go with it. The mosquitoes naturally wanted to leave with it. Although they were reluctant to leave their familiar home, they were even more reluctant to leave the mosquito. Besides, if there was no mosquito to protect them, they would be bullied here. It's better to follow the boss to enjoy the human territory. Seeing that the mosquitoes were willing to go with it, the mosquito also made up his mind. It stretched out its hand and gently touched the Pokeball, and then turned into a red light and was sucked into the ball. After the Pokeball fell to the ground, it shook left and right twice and stopped moving, and then a ding sound was heard, which meant that Ryan successfully captured the mosquito. He picked up the Pokeball on the ground. This was not the first time he had captured Pokémon, but he was still very excited. I have captured Mosquito-kun. Ryan took the Pokeball and posed in a victory pose. Damn, no matter how many times I shout, I feel so ashamed. But it does feel strangely refreshing. After shouting the shameful slogan, Ryan released Mosquito-kun, and he had to rely on it to lead the Mosquito-kun tadpoles. Ryan took them to meet the long-awaited Meryl. The two tribes used to live around Wanjiao Lake, and they were familiar with each other, so they got along very well. After they greeted each other, they followed Ryan and left Wanjiao Lake, their eyes full of expectations for future life. In the afternoon, Ryan successfully returned to the territory with the Pokémon. He was nervous all the way, fearing that he would encounter any trouble again. There was no way, he had only gone out twice, and the results were not very smooth. The last time he went to Tishi Mountain, he encountered a big rock snake, and this time it was even more outrageous, he actually encountered a killer. Ryan felt that he was not suitable for long-distance travel, so he decided to stay in the territory and farm. The players who were farming at the edge of the territory immediately discovered Ryan and the mighty Pokémon behind him. Look, Lord Ryan brought back another batch of Pokémon. Our Lord never comes back empty-handed, and he always has a harvest. The mole he brought back last time was very useful for farming. I wonder what this Pokémon can do. Just go and ask, let's go together. The players trotted all the way to Ryan, greeted him respectfully, and then couldn't wait to ask about the Pokémon behind him. This is Mosquito and Mosquito Tadpole, these are Meryl, they are all water Pokémon. Ryan briefly introduced them to the players. Water type? Can they use the power of water? Wouldn't that help irrigate farmland? Chen Yan instantly thought of the irrigation problem that had troubled them for a long time. Yes, I conquered them to help the territory solve the irrigation problem. Ryan looked at Chen Yan with appreciation. This kid reacted really quickly. Really? Then we don't have to carry water back and forth in the future. That's great. I've had enough of carrying water all day long. Long live the Lord. Don't be too happy, these Pokémon are not free for you to use, they are like moles, you need to pay to rent them. Ryan poured a basin of cold water on the players. The cheering players were suddenly stuck, they were still in debt. If they rented more water Pokémon, the debt would increase again, how long would it take to pay it back? Ryan also knew the current situation of the players, he didn't say much, but took the Pokémon to a piece of farmland. Mosquito, Meryl, use the water gun. Yo! Lilu! Mosquito and Meryl sprayed water guns on the land in front of them, and in just a moment, the farmland was irrigated. They can actually spray water directly out. The watering speed is too fast, if we do it ourselves, it will take a day to water. No more words, I rent. Anyway, I'm already in debt, so this doesn't matter. After seeing the irrigation effect, the players immediately changed their attitudes. It's just a debt, I'll take it. If you are really short of money, you can actually rent a Pokémon together. Ryan suggested to them. Sharing? This water gun is really powerful, but one Pokémon can't meet the irrigation needs of such a large farmland, right? The players were puzzled. Of course we are not sharing with Meryl and the others, but with Mosquito-kun. Mosquito-kun? Why? Of course it is because Mosquito-kun has a move that is more suitable for irrigation than the water gun. Mosquito-kun, use the rain prayer. Yobo! After hearing Ryan's order, Mosquito-kun began to beat his belly. After a while, the sky was covered with dark clouds. No way! The players looked at the sky in disbelief. Hwalala! A lot of rain fell from the sky. Chen Yan wiped the rain off his face and muttered to himself. Isn't this artificial rainfall? Chapter 39. This is too exaggerated. Players stared in shock at the rain falling from the sky. They know that Pokémon have various abilities. Especially Chen Yan and several other veteran players have witnessed battles between Pokémon with their own eyes. Although the moves they use are magical, they are not unacceptable. But what's going on with this mosquito-repellent incense guy? It's outrageous that a few simple pats on the belly can directly change the weather. It doesn't make sense. In reality, artificial rainfall spreads catalysts into the clouds, causing the raindrops to quickly condense and grow, and then form rainfall. In other words, the prerequisite for artificial rainfall is the presence of clouds, but the sky was clearly cloudless just now. How did it make it rain? Chen Yan's face was full of curiosity. Are you talking about science in the game world? Are you smart? Su Ruo Feng complained from the side. Well, I'm used to it, I'm used to it. Chen Yan scratched his head in embarrassment. This game was too real. He always wanted to use realistic theories to explain what happened in the game. After a while, the dark clouds dispersed and the weather became sunny again. Actually, this move is not bad. Although it can change the weather, the scope and amount of rain are not as good as those on normal rainy days. Lao Ye squeezed the water from his clothes. He was shocked at first, but soon discovered that the rainfall was not widespread. Only their farmland received rainfall, and it was still sunny in other places. Other players also gradually calmed down, and they also noticed this. Really, it's just that changing the weather is so incredible that we ignore other places. But the rainfall is enough to irrigate the farmland. Do you want to share the house with me? Chen Yan said to the other 4 players. Their farmland is all connected together, so the cost-effectiveness of renting a mosquito-repellent incense jointly is much higher than renting alone. The other 4 players naturally wanted to rent together. Although they said it didn't matter how much debt they had, they still wanted to reduce some of the burden. So Chen Yan expressed his willingness to rent mosquito coils to Ryan on their behalf. You 5 want to share a room with Mr. Mosquito repellent? Of course there is no problem, but Mr. Mosquito repellent is not in good condition and needs to rest for 2 days. In the past 2 days, you can use 5 mosquito repellent tadpoles to replace the mosquito repellent coils. The rental price will remain unchanged. After the mosquito repellent coils have recovered in 2 days, they can be replaced. The 5 players discussed it and felt that there was nothing to lose, so they agreed. After completing the transaction with the players, Ryan returned to the castle and settled down Mr. Mosquito repellent. It was almost time for players to log out, and Ryan was going to see how the newbies were doing. As soon as he walked out of the castle, he was stopped by a new player. Hello, dear lord, I am a new visitor from the God realm who entered this world today. I take the liberty to bother you this time because I want to make a small suggestion to you. Oh? You said. Ryan looked at the player named Bo Yan Gimo with interest. If he remembered correctly, this person was the only new player brought by Silent. Taciturn has given him a lot of surprises in the past few days, and the new players he has brought are also very interesting. He has to give him suggestions as soon as he gets started. I found that there are no public toilets in our town. Most residents just find a place to go to the toilet. Only a few people use chamber pots at home. But after they have finished excreting, they will dump the excrement in the chamber pot directly on the street, which can easily affect pedestrians on the road and make the whole street stink. When he said that it would affect passers-by, Lin Mu's voice became louder. He almost had cake thrown at him when he was repairing the house today. They dump their excrement at will, not only polluting the urban environment, but also easily breeding and spreading various diseases. So I suggest building public toilets in towns and cities so that residents can relieve themselves in fixed places. This will not only improve environmental sanitation, but also collect feces to make farmyard manure, which can be used to increase food production. It can be said to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I hope you can adopt this suggestion. After Lin Mu finished speaking, he glanced at Ryan nervously, feeling that he didn't mean to be angry, and couldn't help but feel relieved. Chen Yan just told him this morning about Ryan's importance to this game. He was afraid that what he said would anger Ryan. After all, he was talking about Ryan's shortcomings in managing the territory. But he had to say that he had a mysophobia. Although it was not very serious, he really couldn't stand the filthy environment in the town. The streets are littered with excrement, and it's a surprise to step on one if you are not careful. It would be okay if it were other games. Anyway, you can't feel anything through the computer screen. Lin Mu could even praise the details of this game. But this is a virtual reality game. He can really smell the stench. Even the feeling of stepping on poop is so real, exactly the same as the feeling of stepping on poop promoted by sports shoe brands in reality. This sense of reality almost made him collapse. He had already thought about it if Ryan didn't accept his suggestion this time. He will find time to suggest it again. Otherwise, what else could he do? This is the only virtual reality game. How could he give up the game just because of a few questions? Fortunately, Ryan agreed with his suggestion. You're right. Our town does need to build a few public toilets. In fact, Ryan had noticed the problem of town sanitation a long time ago, but he had been busy with other things these days and had not had time to deal with it. Since a player has mentioned it, it is better to solve it now. Ryan didn't want to be hit on the head by flying poop when walking on the street one day. But how to solve this problem? He doesn't know how to repair toilets. Ryan fell into deep thought. Well, if you don't have any other instructions, I will leave first. Lin Mu said to Ryan carefully. He still had to go to the task station to receive the reward for repairing the house. Okay, you can go. Wait. Ryan suddenly thought of a solution. He doesn't know how to repair toilets, but he can let players repair them. Ryan looked Lin Mu up and down, then said to him. Ahem, since you made this suggestion, then you should take the lead in building these public toilets. Let me build toilets? But I can't. Lin Mu said with a surprised look on his face. He just made a simple suggestion and didn't think about getting involved. You can't? But I heard from other visitors from the God Realm that you are very good at management and construction in the God Realm. That's all a game. I'm just a strong king, and today I was accused of making trouble when I built a house. Needless to say, I'm very optimistic about you and believe you can do it. No, it's useless for you to think highly of me, I really can't do it. After the construction is completed, I will reward you with the right to use a piece of arable land, plus a special reward. You are really good at judging people. I am best at building toilets. Chapter 40. Lord Ryan said that he could see at a glance that I was a person capable of great things, so he gave me this difficult task. Lin Mu put his hands on his hips and said to Chen Yan proudly. Ah, yes, yes, then why are you here looking for me if you, a man who can do great things, don't fix the toilet? Aren't I sharing the blessing? When something good happens, I will think of you first and come to you to complete the task together. I don't think it's a good thing to be sent to repair toilets. Besides, my fields haven't been planted yet. I should keep this blessing to myself. Chen Yan waved his hand, signaling Lin Mu to go away quickly and not to delay his farming. Seeing Chen Yan like this, Lin Mu stopped pretending. He hugged Chen Yan's arm and cried. Brother, please help me. I really don't know how to repair the toilet. If I can't complete the task by then, my favorability with Lord Ryan will be lost. You don't want to see your good brother being targeted by the protagonist of the game and finally giving up the game sadly. Chen Yan looked at the tearful Lin Mu, felt a chill in his heart, and quickly wanted to break off Lin Mu's hand. Put your hands away first. Who asked you to take random tasks just for rewards? Besides, you can't repair the toilet, can I? Lin Mu refused to let go, but held him tighter. If you don't promise me, I won't let go. It's better to have someone to help me than to do nothing alone. And your help is not in vain. Lord Ryan said that as long as players participate, elf coins will be distributed according to their contribution. Please, my good Jiggy. At the end of the sentence, Lin Mu even shook Chen Yan's arm, and his voice became extremely numb. First of all, please don't disgust me. I promise you, why don't you? Please take your hands off me. Chen Yan felt like he had goosebumps all over his body. Why did Lin Mu become so arrogant in the game? He was not like this in reality either. Everyone lets themselves go after entering the game, right? If I had promised earlier, it would have been over. I had to act like a spoiled child for you. I didn't expect you to be so good at it. After hearing Chen Yan's promise to him, Lin Mu immediately let go of his hand and said with a look of disgust. Mosquito-repellent tadpoles, don't water them yet. Please spray them with a water gun to kill them. Chen Yan turned to the mosquito-repellent tadpoles that were being watered and said. Yo! Mosquito-repellent tadpole looked at Chen Yan with confusion. Weren't you two still posting stickers just now? Why are you attacking him now? No, 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 we are joking. Lin Mu was really afraid that the mosquito-repellent tadpole would take him seriously, so he directly fired a water gun at him. But he was overly worried. Ryan had already told these Pokémon that they were only responsible for plowing and watering the fields and did not need to listen to other orders. Chen Yan naturally knew this, so he said it deliberately, wanting to scare Lin Mu so as not to disgust him all the time. Let's stop making trouble and be serious. Thank you very much for coming to help me. Do you think the two of us are enough? Do you want to recruit a few more players? We definitely have to recruit people. Just the two of us will have to build it until the end of the year. Lord Ryan said that if you need anyone, you can go to Clerk White to get it. Then we have to recruit players so that the NPCs can do some hard work. We have to rely on our own research on the technical aspects. Chen Yan pointed at Suruo Feng who was watching the excitement and said. Ignore the others for now. Let's get Suruo Feng over here. He has been laughing at us for a long time. No problem. Lin Mu met Suruo Feng through Chen Yan and was not familiar with him at first. But men, after going out to wash their feet a few times, they will get to know each other. Under the pressure of the two, Su Ruofeng also joined in. The three of them decided to check the information after going offline today and officially start building the toilet tomorrow. Time quickly came to the next day. As soon as Lin Mu went online, he couldn't wait to share his learning results with the other two people. I watched a carpentry teaching class during the day, and also watched a few videos of building toilets in the wild. I have generally mastered the construction process. Just wait and see me show off my skills. Why are you watching the carpentry class? Didn't we say in the group that we would build a toilet with bricks and tiles? Su Ruofeng asked puzzledly. When did you say that? Why didn't I know about this? Lin Mu even had a question mark on his face. Oh no, I forgot to include you in the group. I asked you why you didn't say a word in the group during the day. Only then did Su Ruofeng remember that he didn't invite Lin Mu into the group chat. What do you mean? You even created a group behind my back. Lin Mu felt isolated. No, this group was created by Ruofeng before. There are only 5 old players in it. We often discuss the game in it after we go offline. I was so busy discussing repairing the toilet today that I forgot to remind Ruofeng to invite you into the group. Chen Yan explained. So you are planning to use bricks and tiles to build a toilet? Then my carpentry class was in vain? Why can't you use wood to build a toilet? Lin Mu couldn't accept that he wasted a whole day. At first we also considered using wood to build toilets. After all, the wood reserves are still sufficient, but then we thought that wood is afraid of water, is easily corroded by excrement, and will rot and deteriorate in a short time, so we gave up this idea. Then we thought of firing bricks and tiles to build toilets. The toilets built with bricks and tiles are not only strong and moisture-proof, but also more convenient for cleaning and collecting excrement. It can also increase our experience in building houses with bricks and tiles, so we will be more familiar with building our own houses in the future. Chen Yan told Lin Mu the results of the discussion in the group. Lin Mu has no other advantages, but he listens to advice and was quickly convinced. But isn't it very troublesome to burn bricks? Are you sure the 3 of us can make it? I checked some information and videos during the day. In fact, burning bricks is not very difficult. Just follow me. Chen Yan took them to a muddy land and instructed them to dig mud into the wooden barrel. Although Lin Mu didn't know what the connection was between the mud and the bricks, he still did it. After the 3 of them dug a pile of mud, Chen Yan used the mud to pile up an uncovered cylinder, leaving an air inlet at the bottom. Then he ignited the branches and dead leaves that had been placed in advance in it, and used the heat to quickly dry the mud. In this way, the mud kiln was almost formed. Then the cut wood was neatly placed in the mud kiln, and the top of the mud kiln was sealed after it was ignited with fire. He used mud to build a cone on the top of the mud kiln. When the temperature in the kiln rose high enough, he blocked all the holes and let the wood suffocate inside. The rest, leave it to time. Okay, you build a few more mud kilns according to my method. Can you make bricks like this? Lin Mu asked in surprise. No, your bricks are made of wood? We are burning charcoal here. How can we make bricks without charcoal? Ah? Why not just use coal? Good question. Why don't you use it? Is it because you don't want to? It must be because there is no coal. Chen Yan said unhappily. Well, okay, I will give the Lord a suggestion on digging coal later. Lin Mu said embarrassedly. That's a matter for the future. We still have to burn charcoal now, and we can use charcoal to burn bricks tomorrow. We have to wait until tomorrow? What should we do after we finish building these mud kilns? We can first use wood to grind out the mold for burning bricks, and then find suitable clay to make brick embryos. Chen Yan assigned them the next task. By the time they finished all the work, it was already afternoon. Hey! I'm finally done. Lin Mu was so tired that he couldn't even straighten his back. We have too few people. If we attract more players and NPCs tomorrow, we won't be as tired as today. Okay, I'll go to Secretary White tomorrow to ask for people. It's still early before the offline time. What are you going to do next? Ruofeng and I will definitely continue to farm. As for you, you have taken a carpentry class for a day, so you can put your knowledge into practice and continue to repair the house. Repairing the house? It's not impossible. It's just right to let those who say I'm making trouble see my strength after a day of further study. Lin Mu is full of confidence at this moment. Are you here to make trouble? Why dig a hole in the middle of the wooden bed? Sorry, Sorry, I thought it was a toilet. Lin Mu is in tears at this moment. He has learned too much knowledge. After 3 days of hard work, Chen Yan and his team finally successfully fired the first batch of red bricks. Although the quality of this batch of bricks was not good due to various problems such as insufficient drying time and improper firing temperature. But they were finally fired. And they also fired some cement with wood ash. Next, we can build toilets. The videos about toilets that Lin Mu watched finally came in handy. He directed the players and NPCs to quickly build the first public toilet. Look, sir, this toilet we built is all made of red bricks and cement. It is strong, durable, waterproof and corrosion resistant. Lin Mu explained to Ryan, who came to inspect. We used a wall to separate the left and right, dividing it into male and female toilets, and considering that most of the people in the territory sit to use the toilet, we did not use squatting pits, but used toilets. Since our territory does not have a sewer system yet, the toilet does not have a flushing function, but only a wooden barrel is placed underneath to collect excrement. Ryan listened to Lin Mu's explanation, looked around the toilet, and nodded with satisfaction. Although this toilet looks very simple, there are also many problems. But Ryan was surprised to be able to build a brick toilet in just a few days. As for those problems, this toilet is just for transition anyway, and it can be demolished and rebuilt later. Ryan plans to replan the town when he has time in the future. The current Firefly town is indeed a bit dirty and messy, and there is not even a basic drainage system. You did a great job and lived up to my trust in you. The remaining toilets will be built in the same way. In addition, due to your outstanding performance, I decided to reward you with the right to use the arable land first, and then issue the special reward after you finish building other toilets. Ryan patted Lin Mu's shoulder and said in an appreciative tone. Thank you for your reward. For the development of the territory, I will die. Lin Mu said solemnly. Damn, how can this guy Lin Mu be more licking than me? Su Ruo Feng whispered to Chen Yan. You are too modest. In my opinion, you two are equally matched. Don't criticize each other. You don't understand. Can licking the protagonist of a game be called licking? It's a necessary means to conquer the game. Besides, licking characters in the game is better than licking people in real life. At least the NPCs in the game will increase their favorability. In reality, people will only call you a dog licker. After hearing what Su Ruo Feng said, Chen Yan couldn't refute it for a while. What he said seems to make sense. How about I try to lick it in the future? Chen Yan was thinking secretly when he suddenly heard Ryan calling him. He quickly came to his side, bowed and said. Lord, what is your order from me? I heard Bo Yan Gimo say that you helped him a lot and contributed a lot in the process of building the toilet. Tell me what reward you want. When Chen Yan heard this, he glanced at Lin Mu and found that the other party was blinking at him. How about it? I'm interesting enough. Chen Yan nodded slightly to express his gratitude, and then said to Ryan. Lord, I don't need any reward. It's my honor to share your worries. Damn it. Lin Mu and Su Ruo Feng both looked at Chen Yan in surprise. Unexpectedly, this guy with thick eyebrows and big eyes also learned to lick people. It's good that you have such a heart, but you will be rewarded for your merits. Let's do this. In addition to the elf coins that I promised to reward you before, I will give you another chance to use the circle bear. A chance to use the circle bear. To put it simply, you can borrow my circle bear for a battle, but it cannot be used to help you capture Pokémon. Thank you for the reward, I will definitely cherish this opportunity to use it. Chen Yan said with a look of surprise. This is a level 30 plus Pokémon. It is the most powerful Pokémon in the hands of Lord Ryan. He can actually borrow it once. Not much else, at least it is invincible among the player community. The most important thing is that the level of Circle Bear will definitely increase in the future. Thinking of this, Chen Yan secretly made up his mind. He would not use this opportunity lightly unless it was absolutely necessary. In addition, I have to give you a task. The toilet has been built, and now we urgently need a place to store a large amount of excrement. This place will be built by you. Ryan released new tasks for players. Understood, we will definitely complete the task as soon as possible. Chen Yan and the others nodded in agreement. Isn't it just building a septic tank? They now have bricks and cement, so building a septic tank is not easy. After the players left, Ryan looked at the toilet and fell into thinking. Now the toilet has been built and the septic tank has been repaired. All that is left is the transportation link. Yinghuo town has no drainage system and can only rely on manpower to transport excrement. And this task is not suitable for players to do. They all come from modern society, and they must be resistant to this kind of thing in their hearts. If Ryan forced them to do it, they would definitely go to play the game. But it's true that there is no mistake, and it's not like Ryan doesn't have a better candidate. He said to his followers. Inform Clerk White and ask him to post a notice recruiting manure pickers. Successful applicants will not only be provided with 3 meals a day, but they will also be able to work in lieu of taxes. As you command, I will inform Mr. White right away. Players may think feces is dirty, but Aboriginal people don't. They have lived in this dirty town for so many years and have long been used to it. Moreover, the salary offered by Ryan is very generous, so many people will definitely apply for the job. Another problem has been solved. Watching the territory gradually improve, it's really a sense of accomplishment. The key is that the creation points gained every day have also increased. Ryan glanced at the creation point on the panel, and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly. Side task, build and repair territorial houses, task completed, reward has been distributed. Ryan was startled by the sudden prompt. Good guy, I almost forgot that there is a side mission. I only rewarded 2 entry-level lottery opportunities. There are no good things anyway, so I just drew it and forget it. 2 consecutive draws, let's go. Congratulations on your draw. Chapter 41. Congratulations on getting the momentum belt and grass-knotting move learner. What the hell? After seeing the lottery results, Ryan instantly became energetic. He originally thought that he wouldn't be able to draw anything good this time. At most, he would draw a pokeball or something like before. So he didn't even worship the great god Arceus and just smoked him. Unexpectedly, the prizes drawn were surprisingly good. He quickly returned to the castle, sat down in the study and began to look at the rewards. First, the momentum belt was taken out. Its appearance is similar to that of an ordinary headband, with the overall color being red and yellow flame-like patterns on it. The effect of momentum band is that there is a certain chance that a Pokémon that is about to fall into a dying state will retain some health. To put it simply, Pokémon has a famous sword named Simon. The difference between the two is that the effect of the famous sword is 100% triggerable, while the probability of the momentum band triggering the effect is very low, only 10% in the game. The probability in reality is not high, but it can be improved by exercising the Pokémon's willpower. In other words, the stronger the willpower, the greater the probability of triggering. Ryan is still very satisfied with this reward. Although the probability of triggering the momentum band is low, it can sometimes have unexpected effects. Especially when paired with moves like Escape from Despair, which have lower health points and more powerful moves, it is easy to create miracles in desperate situations. It's a pity that none of the Pokémon he has now know such moves. Wear it on the Circle Bear first, and you can also cause a wave of martial arts bear masters. Next, there's the move learner that I'm more curious about. Ryan put down the momentum belt in his hand and took out the move learner from the panel. The move learner consists of 2 parts. One part is similar to an enlarged version of a wristband that can be adjusted in size and width, and the other part is like a CD. According to the introduction on the panel, first tie the wristband to the Pokémon's head or limbs when using it. Then insert the CD into the small box on the wristband, and the move learner will start. After a Pokémon learns a new move, the disc is automatically discarded and the wristband can continue to be used. The next time you draw a move learner, you will only have 1 disc. This panel doesn't suffer at all. After reading the introduction, Ryan immediately opened the panel mall. As expected, the move learner was sold separately, and the move learner with a wristband was 3 times more expensive than the one without a wristband. Profiteer. Ryan closed the panel angrily. But he was still very happy to get the move learning device. To be honest, he really never thought that there would be such a thing as a move learner in the prize pool. After all, this thing has only appeared in the game, and has not been mentioned much in comics and animations. Especially in animations, Pokémon need to undergo various special training to learn new moves. As strong as the Skin God, he also suffered a lot in order to practice Iron Tail. After using the move learner, you can easily learn new moves. This feeling is really true. So cool. Ryan is not the pedantic type. In his opinion, whether it is special training or a move learning device, as long as it allows Pokémon to learn new moves, it is a good method. There is no need to leave simple props unused, you must let the Pokémon learn them by themselves, and the power of the moves will not change depending on the learning method. Let's try it out first. Come out, Bounsweet. As soon as Bounsweet came out, she threw herself into Ryan's arms and kept talking. Bounsweet said that it doesn't want to stay in the elf ball and wants to stay with you all the time. Ariel shot Rotom translated dutifully from the side. Okay, I won't put you in the elf ball unless absolutely necessary. Ryan touched the calyx of Bounsweet and said. Bounsweet flew up excitedly, spreading its fragrance around. Stop making trouble, come here and put this on first. Ryan put the wristband on Bounsweet's head and inserted the disc into it. As the move learner started, Bounsweet closed his eyes. Soon, the learner stopped running and automatically spit out the scrapped disc. Bounsweet also slowly opened his eyes. What did it feel like just now? Ryan asked curiously. I'm confused. Bounsweet said that after the machine started, it felt very sleepy, and then it entered a place similar to a dream. There were many Pokémon there, and they taught it how to use skills step by step. It studied there for a long time, finally learned the skill, and then woke up. What Bounsweet said was very confusing, and Kampai Rotom sorted it out for a while, and then translated it in simpler words. So this is how Pokémon learn new moves. Well, it makes so much sense. This technology is too advanced. Ryan spent a long time disguising his world as a virtual reality game, and claimed to use dream technology. But he knows that this is the real world, and virtual reality technology does not exist at all. As a result, this technology was used in an ordinary move learner. It can only be said that the technology in the future Pokémon world is indeed advanced, and various advanced technologies are emerging one after another. Now that you have learned it, let's use it and see the effect. Bounsweet, use the grass knot. Bounsweet transmitted a special energy to the ground, and then a round buckle made of grass appeared under Ryan's feet. Ryan squatted down and pulled hard, but the grass knot did not move. This grass knot is very strong, no wonder it can trip heavy Pokémon. The effect of the skill of the grass knot is that the heavier the opponent is, the higher the damage will be. However, unlike in the game, the grass knot in reality needs to trip the opponent to cause damage. In other words, you have to trip the opponent with the grass knot when he moves. If you stand still like Ryan, it will not cause damage. You are very skilled in this move. It seems that the move learning device is effective. Compared with the green grass field that took a long time to use before, Bounsweet's proficiency in using the grass knot is very high, and it can be released in a short time. With more practice, it is not difficult to release it instantly. Meng Ji Meng. Hearing Ryan's praise, Bounsweet proudly straightened up. Humph, do you think that I practiced in the dream for so long for nothing? After praising Bounsweet again, Ryan carried it to the castle courtyard. There are many Pokémon living in the courtyard. They were all harassed by Kuriko in the forest before and were forced to move here temporarily. Although Kuriko has been captured by Ryan, these Pokémon still have no intention of returning to the forest. They have food and drink here, and they don't have to worry about attacks from other Pokémon. It's so comfortable. Looking at these Pokémon who are happy and reluctant to leave, Ryan thinks they are very suitable to be the player's first Pokémon, and it is not difficult to capture them. It seems that we have to find an opportunity for players to get along with them for a while. Ryan thought to himself. As for why he suddenly wanted players to capture Pokémon as soon as possible, it was naturally because he received a new task. Side quest, complete the sowing of all cultivated land in the territory, not completed. Reward, 3 chances to win a prize. Main quest, at least 10 players successfully capture the first Pokémon, not completed. Reward, 5 boxes of Poke Cubes, universal, 5 chances to win a prize. Chapter 42. Ryan checked the 2 tasks on the panel again. The side mission is very simple. With the help of Pokémon, most of the farmland in the territory has been sown. The remaining small part of the cultivated land can be sown in the next 2 days. It is only a matter of time before this mission is accomplished. The main mission is more difficult, and now only 2 players have conquered Pokémon. These days, veteran players and newcomers are either busy burning bricks to build toilets or working hard on the land, and have no time to interact with Pokémon. The only Pokémon that can be touched are Gopher and Marilu, who help with plowing and watering the fields. But they are all Ryan's Pokémon in name only. After these days of understanding, players all know the importance of Ryan to this game. Lend them 10 Pokémon that don't dare to conquer Ryan. This resulted in the current situation, where only 2 of the 20 players had conquered Pokémon. A Pokémon battle game was suddenly turned into a management and construction game. Although the territory is indeed well constructed by them, Pokémon cannot be ignored. Ryan is also counting on players to protect the territory on behalf of the Knights. Thinking of this, Ryan decided to take some time to hold a blind date meeting between players and Pokémon. In fact, players really like these smart and cute Pokémon, but they just don't have the chance to come into contact with them. After receiving help from Ryan, the Pokémon in these courtyards are no longer afraid of being hostile to humans, but instead have great kindness towards humans. When the time comes, let them get in touch with each other, and it will definitely lead to several couples. Why does my operation sound like a facelift? Bah, 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 why does it sound like a matchmaker? He was a noble baron, but he actually started working as a matchmaker. But when he thought about the amazing growth rate of players, Ryan's eyes became particularly determined. For the future of the territory, he decided to be this matchmaker. Just as Ryan was thinking about how to let players capture Pokémon, Belle, who has already tamed the Pokémon, is in trouble. Damn it! Where's the stinky rat from? How dare you dig up seeds in the ground and eat them in front of me? Just now, Ling Dang finished his work and was about to take a rest. Suddenly I saw a purple figure digging in the soil. When she got closer, she discovered that a Pokémon that looked like a mouse was digging for seeds to eat. This made Belle very angry. I worked very hard to finish sowing all the seeds. As soon as the front feet finished the work, you came to eat with the back feet, right? Ordinary girls might be frightened when they see a mouse and would not dare to approach it. But who is Belle? In reality, she keeps snakes and spiders as pets. A mere mouse is just food for her pet. She picked up a hoe and tried to drive away the Rattata. But she seems to have forgotten that Rattata is not a weak mouse in reality, but a Pokémon. Although little Rattata is not very strong, it is not something that an untrained human like her can handle. When Rattata saw the Belle, he immediately threw away the seeds in his hand, leaned down slightly, exposed a pair of sharp front teeth, and assumed a fighting posture. Only then did Ling Dang realize that she seemed unable to defeat this Pokémon. Well, if I said now that I brought the hoe to dig out seeds for you to eat, would you believe it? Of course, Rattata didn't believe it. It rushed towards the Belle with a swish sound. It's over, it seems that I will become the second player to die, and my debt will increase again. Ling Dang knew very well that she had no time to react at such a fast speed and could only let Rattata attack. Just when she was about to withstand Rattata's attack, the Pokeball worn around her neck suddenly released a white light. The figure in the white light stood in front of Ling Dang, helping her resist the attack. Orb Silk Spider. Ling Dang stared blankly at the Orb Silk Spider in front of her, not expecting that it saved her life. Yeah, I can use the Orb Silk Spider to fight the stinky rat. To be honest, she was so busy farming these days that she almost forgot that she still had a Pokémon. If the Orb Silk Spider hadn't seen the danger of the Belle from the Pokeball and ran out on her own initiative, she might really have died under Rattata's front teeth. Let me think about what skills the Orb Silk Spider has. The Lord has told me before. Ling Ding frowned and recalled what Ryan said, but little Rata would not wait for her where she was. I saw little Rata moving quickly again, a white light flashing behind me, and it hit the Orb Silk Spider hard. Bang! The Orb Silk Spider was knocked over twice and lay on the ground breathing heavily. After being attacked twice in succession, its condition became very bad. I remember. Orb Silk Spider, use the poisonous sting on that mouse. Belle finally remembered the Orb Silk Spider's moves and began to direct the Orb Silk Spider to attack. Easy. The Orb Silk Spider spit out several purple poisonous needles from its mouth, but they were dodged by the quick-reacting Rattata. No, this Pokémon is too fast and the poisonous needle can't hit it. Ling Dang was secretly worried, but she couldn't think of a good way for a while. The Orb Silk Spider, unable to wait for the order, had no choice but to launch an attack on its own, spitting out several silk threads towards Rattata. But the speed of the silk thread is slower than the poison needle, so naturally it cannot hit the nimble Rattata. This should be the spinning of silk. Lord Ryan said that this skill can restrict the opponent's actions. I have a way. A light bulb flashed in Ling Ling's mind. Orb Silk Spider, don't attack yet. When the mouse rushes towards you, you can use spinning to tie it up. She whispered to the Orb Silk Spider. The Orb Silk Spider nodded to show that she understood. When the Orb Silk Spider stopped attacking, Rattata rushed towards it again. Closer, closer. Lingling silently estimated the distance between the two Pokémon in her heart. When the distance was about the same, she seized the opportunity to command. Now! Orb Silk Spider, use spinning to wrap it up. The Orb Silk Spider spit out silk thread to Rattata again. This time, the distance between the two Pokémon was very close. Rattata had no room to dodge and was directly entangled by the silk thread. Hehe, aren't you a good runner? Now you can't run anymore. Orb Spider, use poison needles on it. Several poison needles shot out from the mouth of the Orb Spider, accurately hitting the Rattata trapped by the silk thread. Pulade! The Rattata wailed, and a touch of purple appeared on its cheeks. Is it poisoned? It seems that my luck is pretty good. Ling Dang remembered that the skill of Poison Needle can not only cause damage to the opponent, but also has a certain probability of poisoning the opponent. Use Poison Needle to give it the last blow. She will not be soft-hearted to this Pokémon that steals seeds. With the Poison Needle hitting again, the Rattata lay on the ground without moving. Did we win? Ling Dang looked at the Rattata on the ground and asked the Orb Spider. The Orb Spider crawled to the side of the Rattata, and after confirming that it had lost its ability to fight, it nodded to Ling Dang. Great! Orb Spider, you are awesome! Ling Dang happily jumped up with the Orb Spider in her arms. This was her first time to have a Pokémon battle, and the thrilling feeling made her extremely excited. We are invincible together. Let alone a mouse, even if there are a few more, what the hell? Lingling stared at the front in amazement. There were more than a dozen Rattatas digging seeds to eat on the farmland in front, and the number was increasing. We have to go get help. Lord, help me. Chapter 43. Flying Mantis, use continuous slash. Cocodora, rock blockade. Circle the bear, grab it randomly. After learning that there was a Rattata eating seeds in the farmland, Ryan became extremely anxious. Originally, there were not many seeds for spring plowing this time. If Rattata stole them again, the grain output would definitely drop significantly. So he rushed to the scene as soon as possible and directed the Pokémon to attack the Rattata. With the strength of the circle bears, it was very easy to deal with these Rattata. They knocked down more than a dozen Rattata like chopping melons and vegetables. When the other Rattata saw that the situation was not good, they turned around and ran into the forest. Just as the three Pokémon were about to chase after them, they were stopped by Ryan. Don't chase them. They all scatter and run away. If you catch up, you can knock down 3 or 4 of them. At first glance, these Rattata are habitual offenders. Even their escapes are very organized and they don't panic at all. It seems that they have often come to steal seeds before, and they are very experienced. The Lord is still very powerful. He drove away these stinky rats in 3 strokes, 5 divisions and 2 divisions. Belle couldn't help but sigh. It took her a long time to fight a Rattata, but Ryan defeated a group of them in one fell swoop. All I can say is that he is worthy of being the protagonist of the game. Not only is he powerful, but he is also handsome. It's a pity, if he didn't have the power to ban the account, he would have to flirt with him. Thinking of this, Ling Dang shook her head regretfully and quickly put away her nymphomaniac look. She didn't want to be banned for this kind of thing. Ryan didn't know that the player next to him was coveting his body. He was still worried about Rattata. Although these Rattata have been driven away for the time being, there is no need to think about it, they will definitely come back to steal the seeds again. He can't keep guarding the farmland all the time. It's better to ask Uncle White. Ryan couldn't think of a good way for a while, but the territory must have suffered from rat plagues before, and White should know how to deal with these Rattata. He returned to the castle and found White, who was selecting the knight's retinue, and asked how to solve the problem of Rattata stealing seeds. It turns out that there is a knight's monster in the knight team, Inspector Mongoose, and he has 8 or 9 mongooses under his command. Every spring plowing time, they will guard the cultivated fields and prey on Rattatas that come to steal the seeds. Their preying efficiency is very high. Very few Rattata can break through their defenses. Even if there are a few fish that slip through the net, they can't steal many seeds and will not affect food production. White replied. I remembered, that knight must be Uncle Green. He used to scare me with dead Rattata. Yes, that's him. Unfortunately, both he and Inspector Mongoose died in the recent beast wave. After Inspector Meerkat died, the young meerkats who followed him elected a new leader. The new leader was unwilling to stay in this sad place and left the territory with the other young meerkats. After listening to White's account, Ryan felt deeply regretful. If the Green Knights were still around, we wouldn't have to worry about the rat plague anymore. Inspector Meerkats are Rattata's natural enemies. In order to deal with the overflowing Rattata in the Alola region in the game, meerkats were specially introduced from other places, and the raging rat plague was easily controlled. This shows that the meerkats are really good at dealing with Rattata. And this method is also in line with Ryan's concept of using the power of Pokémon to solve problems. Then do you know where those meerkats went? Ryan still wants to get the meerkats back. I'm not very sure. I've been dealing with territorial reconstruction these days and haven't paid attention to their whereabouts. White shook his head and said. What a pity. Is there any other way? How do other territories control Rattata? They can't all have meerkats, right? As far as I know, they will go to Guanhai City to buy a special potion, and then spray the potion on the land. The little rats hate the smell of this potion. Unless they are extremely hungry, they will not come to steal the seeds. But not only is this agent expensive, it also reduces food production. Will it reduce food production? Then they still use it? Ryan asked in surprise. It is better to reduce some grain production than to have no harvest at all. Those Rattata are very greedy. If they are not stopped, they will eat up all the seeds in the field. There is no other way to use medicine. Besides taking medicine, is there any other way? Ryan doesn't really want to take the medicine. Let's not talk about whether it is expensive or not. The key is that after taking the medicine, the production will be reduced. The number of seeds sown during spring plowing this time was much less than before. It was difficult to increase some yields through columbines and chemical fertilizers. Now that we need to use medicine again, the grain output still cannot reach the expected target. Originally, he wanted his subjects to learn the players' farming methods, but he swore on his family's honor that if the output dropped, he would fully compensate for it. Although the rat plague was an unexpected factor, the residents did not care about it. They only knew that their food production was less than before, and they would definitely ask Ryan for compensation. Then we can only use the oldest method, which is to send people to patrol the cultivated land day and night. But this method is time-consuming and labor-intensive. The patrol personnel must also have the ability to deal with Rattata, and at least they must be Warcraft users. You also know the current situation in our territory. There are only a few Warcraft envoys, the Knight's retinue has not been selected, and there are no suitable patrol personnel at all. White replied somewhat helplessly. No, we actually have the right person. You mean? That's right, those visitors from the God Realm. But most of them are not Warcraft users. Even if they are immortal, they still can't deal with those Rattata. Don't worry, they'll be there soon. Ryan originally planned to let players capture Pokémon as soon as possible so that he could complete the main mission. Now we are facing another plague of rats, and we need the strength of players even more. Xiao Luo, go and notify all the players and ask them to suspend their work and gather in the castle courtyard. I will wait for them there. Ryan turned to Rotom, who had been following him. As ordered, please wait a moment, I will inform them right away. The players who received Xiao Luo's notice quickly rushed to the castle courtyard and gathered together to discuss. Why do you think the Lord called us here? I don't know where to go. I came over halfway through digging the hole. Wow, there are so many Pokémon living here, and they don't seem to be afraid of us. Yes, some are still secretly watching us. The players looked at the Pokémon in the courtyard with bright eyes. They have been playing this game for 3 or 4 days, and this is the first time they have seen so many Pokémon. Ahem, be quiet. A majestic voice came from behind the player. The player looked in the direction of the sound and immediately became quiet after realizing that it was Ryan speaking. They don't want to lose their favorability points. Ryan walked up to the player, looked around and said. I can see the hard work and dedication of these gods. The territory is getting better because of you. To thank you for your contribution to the territory, I will give you a chance to capture Pokémon. You have also seen these Pokémon. As long as they are willing to follow you, you can conquer them. After Ryan finished speaking, the players didn't react for a moment and were all stunned in place. After a while, a player asked cautiously. You mean we can tame these Pokémon? After seeing Ryan nod, the players instantly exploded. Chapter 44. Can we capture Pokémon too? I drool every day looking at Lao Yi's Heracross, and now I can finally capture my own Pokémon. I've waited for so long and finally waited until today. I've dreamed for so long and finally realized my dream. Ryan looked at the excited players and understood their feelings. When he first captured a Pokémon, he was even more excited than them. But what he didn't understand was why these players talked so much and their voices were so loud that they almost scared the Pokémon away. He raised his hands and pressed them down, signaling the players to be quiet. The players also obediently shut their mouths. At this time, no one dared to disobey Ryan's orders. If he disqualified them from capturing Pokémon, they would have no place to cry. After the players quieted down, Ryan said, "Let me briefly introduce the rules for capturing Pokémon this time. First, you have to introduce yourself to these Pokémon, and then do your best to gain their favor. After you finish speaking, I will let the Pokémon make a choice to see if they are willing to follow you. If there is a Pokémon willing to follow you, then congratulations, you can capture this Pokémon. If not, then sorry, you can only wait for the next opportunity. If you are more charming and are chosen by multiple Pokémon at the same time, then you can choose the opposite. The above is the rules for capturing Pokémon this time. Is there anything you don't understand?" After Ryan finished speaking, he paused for a while to give the players time to understand the rules. "Did you all understand the rules?" "Nonsense, who wouldn't understand this? Isn't it just if you are the one? You are talented, I understand it instantly when you say that." Seeing that the players nodded to show that they understood the rules, Ryan was interrupted by a voice when he was about to introduce himself. "That. Lord, can people like me and Ye Jichu who have already captured Pokémon still participate in this event?" Ling Dang raised his hand and asked. "Of course, you have also contributed to the development of the territory, and one person can have multiple Pokémon, provided that you can afford them." Ryan replied. "Then if you don't participate, will there be any compensation?" Ling Dang asked bravely. "If you don't participate, I will compensate you with some Pokémon coins." "Then I'd better not participate and leave the opportunity to others," Ling Dang said with a smile. She didn't even understand how to cultivate the orb silk spider, so how could she have the leisure to capture the second Pokémon? It would be better to get some Pokémon coins to pay off her debts. Besides, these Pokémon don't quite fit her aesthetics. If there were snake Pokémon, she might still participate. "I won't participate either." Lao Ye also chose not to participate, for the same reason as Lingling. He wanted to cultivate Heracross first, and then capture the second Pokémon. "Okay, after the event is over, you can come to me to get the Pokémon coins. Do the rest of you have any other questions?" "No, right? Then let's get started." "Silent, you go first." Ryan still wanted a good start, so he specifically chose Chen Yan, who he was more optimistic about. And Chen Yan didn't disappoint him. As soon as he walked in front of the Pokémon and didn't open his mouth to speak, a Pokémon jumped towards him. "Are you the walking grass I met on the first day?" Chen Yan squatted down and touched the blue face of the walking grass. This walking grass was the first Pokémon he came into contact with after entering the game. He didn't expect that after several days, the walking grass still remembered him. "Mana." The walking grass nodded, and then kept saying something. The walking grass said that it hopes you can choose it. It will definitely work hard to become stronger and will not let you down. The flying rotom in the air started translating again. Chen Yan glanced at the rotom above his head, and then looked down at the walking grass, and found that it was staring at him nervously, as if it was afraid that he would not choose it. Seeing that the walking grass liked him so much, Chen Yan couldn't help but smile. "Okay, let's work hard to become stronger together." He took out the Pokeball that was rewarded for completing the task before, and gently touched the walking grass. With the appearance of a red light, the walking grass was collected in the ball. The walking grass, which had lived in Ryan's courtyard for several days, naturally knew what the Pokeball was for. It had seen Ryan use it more than once. So the walking grass did not struggle and resist. The Pokeball just shook slightly twice and made a ding sound. Chen Yan picked up the Pokeball on the ground, tried to control the smile on his face, turned around and said to Ryan respectfully, "Thank you for giving me this opportunity to capture Pokémon. In the future, I will work with walking grass to contribute to the construction of the territory." "How come this kid has become so good at licking people now?" Su Ruo Feng said to Lin Mu in surprise. "Who knows, maybe he has come to his senses." Lin Mu spread his hands, indicating that he didn't know either. "Don't thank me, it's your sincerity that touched the walking grass. Okay, don't just stand there, Shout out that sentence. What? What to shout? Chen Yan was puzzled. According to the tradition of our territory, after catching a Pokémon, you have to strike a handsome pose and shout out I have caught XXX. Ryan said seriously. Ah? That? Can I not shout? Chen Yan felt that it was awkward to do so. Okay, it's your freedom to shout or not, but if you don't shout, I might think you are a person who doesn't respect tradition, and I don't like such people. I understand, not shouting will reduce the favorability. Chen Yan immediately raised the Pokeball in his hand and shouted loudly. I have caught the walking grass. Ryan nodded with satisfaction, this is what he likes. Good. Brother Yan is awesome. Congratulations. Come over here and let me get some blessings. The players on the side applauded very respectfully. This made Chen Yan feel even more embarrassed. But to be honest, it was really awkward before and after shouting, but there was an inexplicable sense of pleasure when shouting. It seems that this tradition is not simple. Is it to strengthen the bond between humans and Pokémon? Chen Yan began to imagine again. I won't call out the next one. Is there anyone who volunteered? Since he had a good start, Ryan didn't want to call out the names one by one. It's not that he finds it troublesome, the key is that the names of these players are too difficult to say. Silent is a relatively normal name. He feels ashamed to say some people's names. I'll do it. As soon as Ryan finished speaking, a player stood up. He walked quickly to the front of the Pokémon and said directly. Hello everyone, my name is Chicken Stewed with Mushrooms, I am from the Northeast. Oh, yes, you may not know where the Northeast is, but it doesn't matter. You just need to know that the people in our country are very loyal. As long as you follow me, I promise not to let you suffer any grievances. If I eat a bite, you will eat a bite. And I am also a cook. Although I am not very familiar with the ingredients in this place, I will definitely make food that will satisfy you in the future. Really, don't disbelieve me, the roasted silkworm pupae I make are so delicious. Hearing this, the caterpillar and the unicorn shrank back in fear. Why are you still running back? Don't trust me, right? In reality, even if you give me grass, I will turn it into delicious pickled vegetables. The walking grasses also hid in a hurry. Don't want to eat? It's okay, I have other specialties, such as... Alright, alright. If you keep talking, these Pokémon will all run away. Ryan quickly interrupted the Mushroom Brothers' self-introduction. Good man, this is not to capture Pokémon, this is to choose ingredients. He ignored the puzzled Mushroom Brother and turned to the Pokémon and said. Are any of you willing to follow him? The Pokémon retreated one after another, they were really a little afraid of this living devil. Sorry, no? A Pokémon actually chose you. So it was it, interesting. Chapter 45. Brother Mushroom was extremely excited when he saw that a Pokémon chose him. Although he didn't know what was wrong with what he just said, he could see that none of these Pokémon seemed to want to choose him. Originally, he was prepared to fail, but he didn't expect that there would be a Pokémon that could see pearls with a keen eye. Lord, could you introduce this Pokémon to me? Brother Mushroom wants to know about his future companion. This is a little Kirby. It is a relatively rare Pokémon and has great growth potential, but it is more edible. Ryan introduced. When he saw a little Kirby among this group of Pokémon, he was very surprised. Pokémon such as Kirby are rare and rarely seen. Unexpectedly, it actually got mixed up with this group of fleeing Pokémon. To be honest, Ryan was excited at the time. If he hadn't subdued a circle bear with the same attributes as it later, he might have already captured this little Kirby beast. Now that it has chosen Brother Mushroom, Ryan is still a little reluctant to give up. However, he quickly adjusted his mentality. All players are his. Players conquering the little Kirby beasts is no different from his own. In the end, they will fight to protect the territory anyway. Moreover, this little Kirby is so edible. Although the Lane family has a big business and is not short of this food, giving it away can be regarded as reducing some of the burden. Thinking of this, Ryan reminded Brother Mushroom. I may have used the wrong word just now. The little Kirby is not more edible, but more edible. Are you sure you want to choose it? Ryan emphasized the word special. It's okay. It's a blessing to be able to eat. Besides, I'm a cook and I like to watch other people eat the food I cook. If it can't eat, I don't want to choose it. Brother Mushroom said with a smile, he felt that he and this little Kirby were a perfect match. Well, since you have chosen the little Kirby, you must be responsible to the end. You must not abandon it. If one day you feel that you can no longer afford it, you can send it back to me. Don't worry, I promise this won't happen. I hope you can remember what I said today. Go ahead, little Kirby is still waiting for you. Brother Mushroom nodded excitedly, walked up to the little Kirby, leaned over and stretched out his hand towards it. Hello little Kirbymon, we will be companions from now on, please take good care of us. He doesn't have money to buy a Pokeball yet, so he can only use this method to determine his relationship with the little Kirby. The little Kirby looked up at him, then stretched out its little paws and gently held his hand. Brother Mushroom squatted down and hugged the little Kirby, and made a victory pose next to him. Then he consciously shouted the words, I have conquered the little Kirby. The players on the opposite side also applauded. When he returned to the players, many players were seeking lessons from him. Brother Mushroom, how did you attract such a rare Pokémon? Didn't you all hear it just now? It must be because of the delicious food I made. Brother Mushroom replied confidently. No, the little Kirby chose you definitely because of the saying, everything I can eat is yours. Ryan said silently in his heart, and then gave him a sympathetic look. I'm afraid this old man's life will be difficult in the future. Okay, who's next? Ryan didn't think much more and continued to host this blind date conference. The players introduced themselves to the Pokémon one by one. Some players successfully conquered the Pokémon, and there was even a scene where multiple Pokémon chose one person. Some players came back frustrated, with no Pokémon willing to follow them. But overall, there are still more players who have conquered Pokémon, a total of 14. After all, these Pokémon are still very close to humans. Including the 2 old players who already had Pokémon before, a total of 16 players successfully conquered Pokémon and exceeded the main mission. Main mission, at least 10 players have successfully captured the first Pokémon, the mission is completed and the reward has been distributed. It seems that the panel is more user-friendly this time, and there is no requirement to use Pokeballs to conquer. As long as the Pokémon mentally approves of the player, it will be considered successful. Why? Why is no Pokémon willing to choose me? Suruo Feng shouted in disbelief. He was one of the 4 unlucky guys who didn't have a Pokémon to choose from, and he was a veteran player. Among the 5 veteran players, he was the only one without a Pokémon. Even Xiu, who had been cold-faced all day long, had conquered an EV. He's not even as good as those newbies now. Why do you mean it? I asked you to introduce yourself. You have been praising yourself throughout the whole article about how good-looking you are. It's strange that a Pokémon wants to be with you. Chen Yan complained from the side. Lord, didn't you let me tell you about my advantages? My advantage is my perfect appearance. Why can't I tell you? Suruo Feng said plausibly. As long as you are happy. Chen Yan was too lazy to talk to him anymore. Ahem. Ryan coughed twice, attracting the attention of the players, and then said. Many of you have successfully tamed Pokémon. Congratulations! You now have companions who can fight alongside you. I hope you can treat your Pokémon well and don't betray their trust. Don't be discouraged if you haven't captured a Pokémon yet. There will be more opportunities in the future. Maybe you will meet a Pokémon that suits you better next time. At this point, Ryan looked at Suruo Feng with encouragement, which moved Suruo Feng. Capturing Pokémon is just the first step. How to cultivate Pokémon is the top priority. 2 identical Pokémon can also have a huge difference in strength. So how do you improve the strength of Pokémon? There are many ways. I'm going to tell you the simplest and most direct way now, which is fighting. By fighting with other Pokémon to gain experience, you can improve the level and strength of your own Pokémon. After listening to Ryan's words, the players discussed with each other. Lord, you mean that you can level up as long as you fight Pokémon, right? Then we can have a civil war and gain experience from each other, right? Yes, and you don't have to really fight, just show some respect, and you can gain experience more times. Ryan knew what the players were thinking. This group of 4th disasters would take advantage of any opportunity, and they tried their best to find loopholes that would benefit them. Unfortunately, there was really no loophole for them to take advantage of this time. Ryan continued to say to the players. It should be emphasized that not all battles can gain experience. Only battles that are fully committed can allow Pokémon to gain experience. Want to fake fights to gain experience? It's impossible. In addition, the experience points that can be gained by fighting with the same Pokémon are also decreasing. If you fight with the same Pokémon frequently, the experience points you gain will become less and less, and in the end you will not even have any experience at all. Another point is that if you fight with a powerful Pokémon, you will gain more experience. On the contrary, if you fight some weak Pokémon, you can only gain very little experience. This also eliminates the possibility of players using weak Pokémon to gain experience. Of course, the above rules were not made by Ryan, he doesn't have that much power. He only has the right to give experience to players. The rules for Pokémon to gain experience through battles are already in this world, Ryan just simply repeated these rules. Chapter 46. I knew it wouldn't be that easy. There's no way this game would leave such a big loophole. Isn't that what you said just now? Then who should we look for to fight and upgrade? The Pokémon in the territory belong to Lord Ryan, and we don't dare to fight them. Yes, is it possible to enter the Firefly Forest? That would be very risky. Ryan heard the players talking and knew that the time had come, so he said to them. I know what you are worried about. It is just that you are afraid that you will not be able to find a Pokémon with similar strength to you. But please don't worry, I have found a suitable fighting partner for you. There are a lot of Rattatas on the farmland now. They eat the seeds in the fields in groups. Not only do they destroy the fruits of your labor, they also seriously affect the food production. Speaking of this, Ryan also took a look at the players' reactions. I saw that all the players were filled with indignation, with angry expressions on their faces. They had worked so hard to plant the seeds in the ground, but now they were eaten by Rattata. How can they endure this? They still expect to make a lot of money with the harvested food. Ryan was very satisfied with the players' response, and then said. The level of these Rattata is not high. Their strength is similar to that of your Pokémon. They are very suitable targets for battle. Fighting them will not only prevent the seeds from being eaten, but also improve the level of your Pokémon. It can be said to kill two birds with one stone. So I set up a patrol team to patrol and drive away Rattata on the farmland. Anyone who joins the patrol team will receive generous rewards and have the opportunity to fight Rattata. Are any of you willing to participate? As soon as the words fell, the players raised their hands to express their willingness to participate. In their opinion, the place where the Rattata are located is a leveling point. Not only can they level up by joining the patrol, but they can also get rewards. Where can they find such good things? Lord, can people like me who don't have Pokémon participate? Suruo Feng asked awkwardly, he also wanted a reward. Ryan thought for a while and replied. I don't really recommend that you join the patrol. Without Pokémon protection, you can easily run into danger. If you insist on joining, I won't refuse, but you do so at your own risk. The other three players without Pokémon all put their hands down after hearing Ryan's words. They didn't want to take the risk. After all, resurrection requires quite a lot of Pokémon coins. But Suruo Feng still insisted on joining the patrol, and Ryan had no choice but to agree. Are you crazy? If you go on patrol without Pokémon, aren't you going to die? Chen Yan frowned and said. What are you afraid of? The trap bear was so cruel and didn't kill me, let alone a few little mice. Besides, you were there to protect me, right? Suruo Feng hugged Chen Yan's neck with a playful smile. Although he doesn't have Pokémon himself, he can hug his lap. Why should I? Forget it, then just follow me. Don't blame me if you die. Chen Yan nodded helplessly. He had no choice but to do so. Suruo Feng had already agreed to join the patrol. We couldn't let him withdraw from the team. Then Ryan's favorability could not be lost, so he could only take him with him. I knew you wouldn't abandon me. I just wish I wasn't a girl, otherwise I would have given you my life. Get out. After confirming the personnel participating in the patrol, Ryan said to the players. Most Rattatas will come to eat seeds at night, so I will divide the patrol team into two teams, one team patrols during the day, and the other team is responsible for patrolling at night. Since there are more Rattas at night, the danger is much higher than during the day, so those who join the night patrol will receive more generous rewards. Excuse me, Lord, can't we only come to this world during the day? Is it possible? A player raised his hand and asked Ryan. That's right, you can come during the day in the God Realm, which is also the night in our world. In fact, Ryan has wanted to announce this rule for a long time. This rule is good for both players and the territory. Players can freely choose the time to enter the game, and can also go on adventures in the Pokémon world at night, making the game more interesting. As for the territory, having players online both during the day and night can improve the overall defense level and prevent others from sneak attacking the territory at night. However, regardless of whether they go online during the day or at night, players can only stay in this world for a total of 12 hours at most. It is impossible to stay in games all day long. After all, moderate gaming is good for the brain, but being addicted to gaming is harmful to the body. Although they would not cause any damage to their bodies even if they stayed in this world for a whole day, at most they would be thirsty and hungry. But Lane also doesn't want them to become overly obsessed and ignore the real world. What the heck? I can actually log into the game during the day. I was still thinking about how to spend the daytime on Saturdays and Sundays. Now I can spend it directly in the game. Yet I haven't seen the Pokémon world at night yet. I want to join the night patrol. It's a pity. I have to go to work during the day tomorrow. I really want to resign. I don't care if I don't make it to this crappy shift. Players, you and I all want to see the Pokémon world at night. Many of them are freelancers and have plenty of time during the day. Even players who have to go to work during the day can still go online during their lunch break and play for an hour or two. Don't tell me you are going to join the night patrol, I still have to work during the day. Suruo Feng said to Chen Yan with a sad face. Sorry, I really want to join, you should just go hug someone else's thigh. For an upmaster like Chen Yan, he has time to play games during the day and at night, so he must choose a patrol with high rewards. Do you have to be so ruthless? Seeing Chen Yan's unmoved look, Suruo Feng gritted his teeth and said. Then I will join the night patrol with you, I will resign early this morning. Have you thought about it? You don't even want your job for a game. No, at worst I'll listen to the old man and go back to inherit his company, what's the big deal? You. Chen Yan knew that Suruo Feng's family was rich, but he didn't expect him to be so rich and even run a company. He wanted to persuade this guy not to be impulsive. Okay, stay and join the night patrol, the others can go about their business. After the other players left, Ryan counted the number of people who stayed, and the result was beyond his expectation, there were 11 players. How come there are so many people, don't they work during the day? Ryan was very confused, but he understood it after thinking about it. Many of the newbies were recommended by Chen Yan. It is said that people are divided into groups. As an upmaster, most of the candidates he recommended are upmasters or freelancers, who really don't have to work during the day. Because the time rules have just been changed today, and the situation is urgent, I can allow you to return to the God Realm to rest for 2 hours, and the night will continue to come to this world, but only for today. Do you understand? Understood. The players responded excitedly. They thought they would have to wait until tomorrow to see the night of the Pokémon world, but they didn't expect to see it today. This makes them full of expectations. Chapter 47. As the night grew darker, the players who participated in the night patrol logged into the game again after a short break. Damn, this is so beautiful. I haven't seen so many stars in a long time. It's a pity that this game doesn't have a screenshot function, otherwise I could just take a screenshot and use it as wallpaper. As soon as they walked out of the castle, the players were shocked by the scenery in front of them. The dark and clear sky is dotted with stars, shining like gems, guarding the bright moon. The bright moonlight pours on the ground like flowing water, and complements the candlelight in the house, forming a beautiful night scene. Players who have lived in a feasting environment for a long time have never seen such a beautiful night scene, and they couldn't help but marvel. They were walking on the street, and the surroundings were very quiet. There was no hustle and bustle in reality, and they felt a sense of ease and comfort in their hearts. When they arrived at the city gate, they found Ryan waiting for them. Tonight is your first patrol. I'm a little worried, so I will lead the team this time. Players naturally welcome Ryan to join. To be honest, they were still a little nervous at the thought of having a Pokémon battle soon. But with Ryan by their side, they would feel much more at ease. These are warning fireworks. If you encounter an emergency, you can set off a warning. People around you should immediately go over to provide support after seeing it. Lane distributed warning fireworks to players and showed them how to use them. After all the players learned it, he divided the 11 players into 6 groups, with 2 players in each group and the remaining player in a group with him. Last night West Wind, don't you have any Pokémon? Then you can team up with me. Ryan said to Su Ruofeng. Yes, it's my honor to patrol with you. Su Ruofeng responded loudly. He was secretly happy. He originally wanted to hug Chen Yan's thigh, but he didn't expect that he would have a thicker thigh to hug now. It seems that tonight is stable, no need to worry about any accidents. After being divided into groups, Ryan and the players started patrolling tonight. He led Su Ruofeng towards the cultivated land on the edge of the territory. It was very close to the Firefly Forest and had the largest number of Rattata. As soon as he arrived at the farmland, Ryan found many Rattata digging for seeds to eat at night, while the gophers were driving them away. In order to better resist the rat plague, Ryan deliberately left the gophers and water Pokémon on the farmland and asked them to cooperate with the patrol to drive away Rattata. Of course, this was overtime work, and he also provided these Pokémon with rich food as compensation, including delicious and nutritious Pokémon cubes. The gophers have never eaten such delicious food, and they feel that this small cube is not only delicious, but also good for the body, so they all rush to work overtime. Unfortunately, the gophers have no effective means of attack and can only drive away Rattata by throwing sand and frightening them. On the other hand, the Marilu were extremely brave and kept attacking the Rattata with water guns. Some even used their tails to wrap up the Rattata and beat them back and forth on the ground. Tisk, 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 you are truly worthy of being a dragon-slaying warrior. Ryan muttered. Ah? What did you say? It's nothing. Just stand here and don't move around. I'm going to buy a few. Ahem, I'm going to deal with these Rattata. Ryan took out a few elf balls and tossed them forward. Come out, Flying Mantis, Cocodora, Circle Bear and Mr. Mosquito Repellent. Free to attack the Rattata. To deal with these Rattata, there is no need for Ryan to personally direct them. By the way, he woke up Bounsweet who was dozing on his head. Bounsweet, you should also join the battle, just in time to practice your new moves. Bounsweet nodded, and then jumped up and down to join the battlefield. Unconsciously, Lord Ryan already has so many Pokémon. Su Ruofeng looked at the Pokémon fighting in front of him, not to mention how envious he was. He didn't have a single Pokémon now, but Ryan actually had 5. And this was only conquered with Pokeballs. The gophers and water Pokémon in the territory also belonged to Ryan in name. He knew that Ryan was the protagonist of the game and he couldn't compare with him, but he still felt a sour feeling in his heart. In a short time, the Flying Mantis and the others defeated a large number of Rattata, and the remaining Rattata fled in panic and ran back to the forest. Lord, you are awesome! With just a few moves, you can make these little Rattas run away with their heads covered. Su Ruofeng blew a rainbow fart on the side, and he would not miss any opportunity to increase his favorability. It's not over yet. This is just a Rattata on a piece of farmland. There are many more on other farmland. Let's go, we have to continue patrolling. Okay, your will is my direction. Just speak normally. Ryan couldn't stand Su Ruofeng's praise. It was so disgusting, and he didn't know where he came from. Goo goo. Goo goo. What sound? Su Ruofeng looked around nervously. He had been afraid of the dark since he was a child, and was also afraid of ghosts and other things. That's why he didn't want to join the night patrol. He didn't have time to go to work. It was just an excuse he made casually. He didn't care about the salary, he just didn't want others to know about it. Although Ryan was by his side this time, he was still afraid and even a little suspicious. It should be Gugu, it prefers to move at night. Ryan didn't notice Su Ruofeng's fear, just thought he was curious. He pointed to the firefly forest in the distance and said to Su Ruofeng. Look, the fireflies in the forest are very beautiful, which is also the origin of the name firefly. There are many electric fireflies and sweet fireflies living in the forest. At night, the sweet fireflies will induce the electric fireflies through fragrance, allowing them to draw geometric figures in the night sky, just like now. After listening to Ryan's introduction, Su Ruofeng also turned his eyes to the firefly forest in the distance and found that there were indeed many fireflies forming different figures. He had never seen such a strange scene before, and he couldn't help but be fascinated, and the fear in his heart was also reduced a lot. After following Ryan to repel the little Ratta on a piece of cultivated land again, Su Ruofeng felt that he was no longer afraid. With Ryan and Kyuzoku, let alone the absence of ghosts in this world, even if there are, Kyuzoku can beat them into pieces. Just when Su Ruofeng was thinking about how much reward he could get from tonight's mission, a firework suddenly bloomed in the night sky. It's a warning firework. It seems that someone is in trouble. Ryan looked up at the fireworks and estimated the distance in his mind. The place where the fireworks are set off is not far from us. I will go to support first. You stay here first. I have driven away the small Rattata around. This place is very safe. He quickly said to Suruo Feng. Suruo Feng didn't have Pokémon. If he went with him, he would not be able to help, and he would have to protect one more person. After that, Ryan ran to the place where the fireworks were set off. Only Suruo Feng was left standing there in a daze. After a while, he reacted, but Ryan had already run away. Don't leave me alone. I'm so scared of the dark. Chapter 48. When Ryan arrived at the place where the fireworks were set off, many players were already fighting. Walking around, use the solution. Hurry up and get out of the way. Then use the vine whip. Green Caterpillar, are you okay? I need support here. The battle scene is very chaotic, but it is not difficult to see that the players are losing ground, and many Pokémon have lost their fighting ability. Upon seeing this, Ryan immediately released the flying mantises and asked them to support the players. Walking Grass, use Absorb. Chen Yanzhen directed the Walking Grass to fight with a Rattata. After hearing the instruction, Walking Grass condensed a green light and shot towards Rattata. Rattata, who was already injured by the dissolving liquid, was unable to dodge. He was accurately hit by the green light, and his physical strength was constantly draining away. Just when this Rattata was about to lose its fighting ability, another Rattata jumped out from the side and bumped into the Walking Grass at an extremely fast speed. Bang! Xiuoko, who was concentrating on releasing his moves, didn't notice the attack from the other Rattata, and was knocked to the ground hard. As the Walking Grass fell to the ground, the Absorb move could no longer be maintained. The original Rattata got up again and began to attack the Walking Grass. Faced with the continuous attacks of the two Rattata, the Walking Grass that fell on the ground could only be beaten passively, unable to resist at all. Walking Grass! Can anyone come and support me? Seeing that Walking Grass's injuries were getting more and more serious, Chen Yan felt extremely anxious. He loudly asked for support, but the players around him were in a hard fight and no one responded to him. Seeing that Walking Grass was about to enter a dying state, he gritted his teeth, rushed directly in front of Walking Grass, and protected Walking Grass with his body. Don't worry, I'll protect you. Rattata did not give up their attack just because Chen Yan was a human. They hit Chen Yan hard. Chen Yan felt as if he was hit by two hammers at the same time. A stream of blood surged into his throat, and his mouth was instantly filled with the smell of blood. He resisted spitting out the blood and looked at the comatose Walking Grass in his arms with worried eyes. He might not be able to hold on for long. He is not afraid of death. Anyway, he can be resurrected after death, but what about the Walking Grass? It has to stay here to withstand the attack of Rattata. At this moment, Chen Yan suddenly remembered that he had an elf ball. You can put the Walking Grass into the ball. Even if he dies and the Pokémon ball falls to the ground, Rattata probably won't be able to break through the Pokémon ball's defense. He was so worried about the Walking Grass just now that he even forgot the elf ball. If he had used the elf ball to collect the Walking Grass just now, he might have had a chance to escape. Now that he has been locked by two Rattata, he will definitely not be able to outrun them. He can only stand there and wait for death. Chen Yan used the elf ball to collect the Walking Grass, and then closed his eyes, waiting for Ratchet's attack. Hey! At this critical moment, the flying mantis came to support in time, and with a slight wave of its two arm blades, the two Rattas flew away. Flying Mantis looked at Chen Yan, who closed his eyes tightly and showed approval. It saw everything Chen Yan did just now, but it was still supporting other players at that time and could not rush over to help immediately. It touched Chen Yan lightly, and after Chen Yan opened his eyes, it motioned him to find Ryan. Chen Yan also understood what Flying Mantis meant and hurriedly ran to where Ryan was. When he came to Ryan, he found many Pokémon lying on a piece of green grass, and players were applying medicine to them. He also released the Walking Grass and held it tightly in his arms. Your Walking Grass is seriously injured. Let's put it on the grass field first. I have a bottle of good wound medicine here. You can use it first. Ryan took out a bottle of good medicine from the panel and handed it to Chen Yan. He also saw Chen Yan's behavior of protecting Luko and was very satisfied with Chen Yan. Chen Yan took the good medicine, and after expressing his gratitude to Ryan, he quickly placed the walking grass on the grass and started to give it medicine. Bounsweet, can you still persist? Ryan turned to Bounsweet, who was releasing green grass field, and asked. Bounsweet, who has the jewel of grass on his head, is very confident. Now it is different from what it used to be. It is easy to use the grass field. After confirming that Bounsweet could still hold on, Ryan felt relieved and immediately asked the players. Which of you discovered these Rattata first? It's both of us. Ling Dang and Ziu raised their hands. Tell me about the situation. Okay, Ziu and I patrolled this farmland and found 3 or 4 Rattata stealing seeds, so we launched an attack on them. During the battle, a Rattata escaped, and we didn't pay much attention. But after a while, a large group of Rattata came. We couldn't defeat them at all, so we had to set off fireworks while running away. We waited for other visitors from the God Realm to come to support us, and then we fought back against them. However, the number of Rattata became more and more numerous, and we were slowly suppressed. If you hadn't arrived in time to rescue us, we would have definitely the group was destroyed. After listening to Ling Ding's words, Ryan felt very confused. It makes no sense. This farmland is far away from the forest and close to the town. Logically speaking, there won't be that many Rattata. 5 or 6 of them would be enough to support the sky. Therefore, Ryan did not arrange Pokémon to defend here, but only allowed players to patrol here. But the fact is right in front of us. Scythers has been fighting for a long time, but they haven't cleared all the Rattatas yet, which shows how many of them there are. Could it be? Ryan turned his eyes to the town. There is only one possibility, these Rattatas come from the town. This can explain why there are so many Rattatas in this farmland far away from the forest. Oh my god, my house was stolen. But I haven't seen many Rattatas in the town before. He has only seen them a few times since he was a child, and Uncle Green always used dead Rattatas to scare him. Wait. Uncle Green? Yes. It must be because of Uncle Green and Inspector Mongoose. Ryan slapped his head and felt that his IQ had dropped a bit recently. Well, I'd better stay away from that kid last night Westwind in the future, so as not to be infected by him. In the past, there were Night Green and Inspector Mongoose in the town, and Inspector Mongoose was followed by several meerkats. The town is equivalent to their base camp, which is full of their smell information. The Rattatas dared not even approach the town, let alone build nests in it. But Night Green and Inspector Mongoose died in battle, and the mongooses left the territory. Without natural enemies, the Rattatas dared to live in the town. It's only been a few days, and there are so many Rattatas in the town, but why haven't I received any relevant reports? It stands to reason that if there are Rattatas in the town, there must be people who have seen them, but he has not received any eyewitness reports. Let's go back and ask Uncle White. Ryan couldn't wait to go back. It was no small matter to have Rattatas in the town. They were not mice in reality. They would run away when they saw people. Rattatas would attack humans. If they were not dealt with quickly, someone in the territory would be injured sooner or later. Scyther had already knocked down most of the Rattatas, and the remaining small number of Rattatas took advantage of the chaos to escape. Ryan looked in the direction they fled, and they were indeed running towards the town. Scyther, chase them and kill them. He commanded the fastest Scyther to chase the fleeing Rattata along the way, and knock down as many as possible. If they ran into the town, it would be difficult to find them again. Just as Ryan was about to return to the town, another firework bloomed in the night sky in the distance. Is that the direction of the cemetery? Why would a player run there? Chapter 49. Let us shift our perspective to Su Ruo Feng. Ryan rushes to support the other players, leaving him alone. The silence and darkness around him aroused the fear in his heart. He always felt like something was quietly staring at him. No, I have to go find the army. I can't stay here. According to the classic horror movie formula, I will definitely encounter an accident if I am alone. Because he had been afraid of the dark and ghosts since he was a child, and was afraid that he would encounter dirty things one day, so he specially summarized many horror movie routines, but he didn't expect that they would come in handy at this time. Thinking of this, Su Ruo Feng walked in the direction where Ryan left. But the fireworks in the night sky had long since dispersed. He had no clear reference and could only move forward based on his feeling. After walking forward for a while, Su Ruo Feng felt that he might have gone the wrong way. He had also seen the warning fireworks just now and knew that the place where the fireworks were set off was not far from him. If he hadn't gone the wrong way, he should have joined the main force long ago. But now, let alone finding a large army, he couldn't even see a single figure. At this moment, he suddenly remembered that accidents could easily happen if you were running around alone in a horror movie. It's over. Why did I forget this routine? Let's go back quickly. Maybe Lord Ryan has completed the rescue and comes back to find me. Su Ruofeng decided to return the same way. The journey ahead was smooth and he generally knew the road. When he reached a fork in the road, he stopped. Damn it, which way did I go? Why can't I remember clearly? He moved the torch in his hand downwards, trying to discern the path. I remember it should be the road on the left, right? It's the left. Su Ruofeng walked to the left confidently. But the further he walked, the more he felt something was wrong, and he had no impression of this road at all. It was obvious that he had taken the wrong path again, and this time was completely lost. What a bad luck! If I had known, I wouldn't have run away. Su Ruofeng stood there not knowing what to do. He thought about going offline first and then going online again when there was enough light during the day. But Ryan said before that going offline is just his consciousness returning to reality, and his body will remain where it is. Who knows what will happen tonight? He doesn't want to have to pay elf coins to resurrect as soon as he goes online the next day. How about setting off warning fireworks? After Ryan sees the fireworks, he will definitely come to him. Su Ruofeng held the fireworks in his hand and put them away after much hesitation. No, Ryan said that warning fireworks can only be used in critical moments. If you set off fireworks just because you are lost, Ryan's favorability will definitely lose a lot. He would rather go offline and wait for death than lose his favorability. After all, being able to resurrect after death is nothing more than spending more elf coins, but it is difficult to increase the favorability. Forget it, I'd better log off and take a gamble, just in case nothing happens tomorrow. Just when Su Ruofeng was about to log off, he suddenly saw a stone monument not far away. Could it be a road sign? Su Ruofeng was very excited. If it was really a road sign, he would be able to find his way back. He walked quickly to the stone tablet and passed the torch in his hand forward, trying to see clearly what words were engraved on the stone tablet. Yinghuo Town Cemetery? It turns out it's not a road sign. It made me happy for nothing. Su Ruofeng shook his head regretfully. Etc. Cemetery. He raised his head suddenly, eyes widened, and looked at the stone tablet in disbelief. No, it won't. He tremblingly raised the torch and shined it behind the stone monument. As the firelight illuminated, he saw tombstones all over the mountains and plains. My darn thing! The sight in front of him frightened Su Ruofeng so much that he stepped back repeatedly, while shouting crazily in his heart. Why the hell would I walk to the cemetery? The cemetery at night caused too much psychological harm to him, who had been afraid of ghosts since he was a child. It's okay, it's okay. I just happened to walk into the cemetery. Besides, this game is not a horror game. There will definitely be no ghosts or anything like that. I don't have to scare myself. Su Ruofeng kept comforting himself, and his mood gradually calmed down. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly heard sobbing coming from behind the tombstone. Woohoo! Woohoo! This sound scared Su Ruofeng into a cold sweat. This is not crying, this should be the sound of the wind. He said calmly. Hey! Su Ruofeng suddenly felt a chill on his neck, as if someone was blowing air on the back of his neck. He couldn't help but shiver, and tried hard to control the desire to turn his head and look back. According to the formula of horror movies, you must not turn your head at this time. He held the torch tightly in his hand. Only this light could bring him some sense of security. But a gust of wind blew from nowhere and blew out the torch. Don't mess with me! Su Ruofeng was very scared. He actually knew very well that there was no wind tonight. The cry just now was not the sound of wind at all, and the torch seemed to have been blown out by someone. This series of strange things made his fear reach the extreme. Isn't this game really a horror game? He remembered the introduction of this game. They just said that the game was a virtual reality game, but did not say what type the game belonged to. In other words, it is possible to add ghost elements to this game. He he he. A weird laughter came from behind him, followed by a faint sweet fragrance. He turned around subconsciously and saw first a strange light, and then a terrifying face. Su Ruofeng's mind suddenly went blank, and his body retreated uncontrollably until he hit a cold body. He turned his head stiffly, like a robot in disrepair. Woohoo! A woman in a red wedding dress was covering her face and sobbing, and her cry was particularly scary. Su Ruofeng felt that his heart stopped for a moment. What a ghost! He was so frightened that he turned around and ran away, setting off warning fireworks as he ran. Lord, help me! Seeing Su Ruofeng's embarrassment as he ran away in a hurry, the two figures behind him looked at each other with a smile, and then chased after him. When Ryan and the others arrived, they found Su Ruofeng running in circles in the cemetery like a headless fly, crying and howling. And behind him were two strange-looking Pokémon. Those are ghosts and dream monsters? Since when are there Pokémon in the cemetery? Ryan recognized the two Pokémon chasing Su Ruofeng. They all have ghost attributes, and they do prefer to live in places like cemeteries, but Pokémon have never appeared in cemeteries before. Ryan didn't think much about it. The top priority now was to rescue Su Ruofeng. If he continued to be frightened by these two Pokémon, he might be scared off. Mr. Mosquito repellent, use foam light. He threw the Pokeball and released Mr. Mosquito repellent. Yobo! Mr. Mosquito repellent stretched out his hands and fired a large amount of foam forward. Ghost and Dream Demon could only dodge. Only then did Su Ruofeng see Ryan and the others. He immediately crawled to Ryan's side, hugged his thigh and cried. Lord, you are finally here. There is really a ghost in this place. Chapter 50. A ghost? The players who followed Ryan to support looked around nervously after hearing Su Ruofeng's cry. But they didn't find any monsters. There were only two Pokémon in the cemetery. You are hallucinating, right? Where are the ghosts here? Chen Yan stretched out his hand and pulled Su Ruofeng up from the ground. It's true. There is a particularly scary ghost face, and a female ghost in a red wedding dress. They chased me for a long time. Su Ruofeng said with snot and tears. Hearing his affirmative tone, the other players began to tremble in their hearts. There won't be any ghosts in this game. They turned their eyes to Ryan, wanting to get the answer from him. Ryan looked at the terrified players in front of him, and suddenly had the urge to tease them. So he said. There are indeed creatures similar to ghosts in this world. At this point, he deliberately paused to see the players' reactions. Are there really ghosts in the game? Don't scare me. Isn't this a horror game? I don't want to play anymore. My cabinet is wrong. My game helmet is moving. The players were really scared by Ryan's words. If there were ghosts in other games, it would be fine. Anyway, they were separated by the screen and they would be scared. But they are playing a virtual reality game now, and their five senses are the same as in the real world. In other words, encountering ghosts in the game is equivalent to encountering ghosts in reality. How can they not be scared? But these creatures are actually Pokémon, ghost Pokémon. After satisfying his own bad taste, Ryan changed his tone and explained the truth of ghosts to the players. Ghost? It sounds like it has a certain connection with ghosts. Whatever it is, as long as it is still Pokémon, I'm not afraid. But why did Zifeng say that he saw a female ghost? Yes, I really saw a ghost. Su Ruofeng himself also wanted to know the answer to this question. You must have been hit by Ghastly's strange light. This skill will cause your consciousness to fall into confusion. The so-called ghost face and female ghost are just projections of your inner fear. In short, you have hallucinations. Ryan replied. Strange light? Hallucinations. Su Ruofeng carefully recalled the scene at that time. Yes. Before seeing the ghost face, I did see a strange light first. He clapped his hands and said. It turned out that there was no ghost at all, it was the Pokémon skill that made him hallucinate. How abominable! These two Pokémon made him look so ugly. Su Ruofeng glared at the two Pokémon in front of him, wishing he could have a big fight with them. Ghost-type Pokémon are relatively rare, and their appearance is often associated with death and ominous elements. Most of their bodies give people a floating and elusive feeling, which is more in line with the public's perception of ghosts. The two Pokémon in front have ghost attributes. The one that looks like a black ball is called Ghastly. It is said that there is resentment that is lodged in the breath of the cemetery and eventually turned into a Pokémon. Of course, this is just a legend. Although Ryan has emphasized that what he said is just a legend, the players still stepped back a few steps, trying to stay away from the black ball. There is no way. As long as they are not in the cemetery now, the players may believe what Ryan said. Ryan shook his head and did not explain much. Anyway, after he captures Ghastly, the players will believe what he said. That's right, Ryan wants to capture this Ghastly. He liked Jengar in his previous life. Not only is it powerful, but it also looks honest and cute, which is in line with Ryan's aesthetics. Now that he has finally met one, he will not miss this opportunity to capture it. So he had already ordered Mosquito to sneak behind Ghastly and Ogre, and put his hands on his waist, ready to release other Pokémon at any time. As long as Ghastly and the others have the intention to escape, he will attack immediately. But Ghastly and Ogre have no intention of escaping at all. Maybe in their eyes, Ryan and others are not a threat to them. They have been wandering in the wild for so long, and they can roughly estimate the strength of Pokémon. They don't take the players' Pokémon seriously at all, each one is so weak and injured. There is only one Mosquito who is about the same strength as them, but they have two. Although Ogre's strength is lower, it can still run away if it wants to. Therefore, they are not afraid of running away, but want to scare these humans again. For Pokémon like Ogre, which regards human fear as nourishment, scaring others is the meaning of its life. Besides, the fear of that human just now is too delicious, and it hasn't eaten enough. Ryan didn't know what Ghastly was thinking, but he could see that they had no intention of escaping, so he continued to introduce. Most of Ghastly's body is made of poisonous gas, so in addition to the ghost attribute, it also has the poison attribute, and is a dual attribute Pokémon. It has a mischievous personality and likes to play tricks on and scare others for fun. And the dark green Pokémon is called Narwhal. Although it looks cute, it feeds on human fear. The red bead on its chest, Cococodera, uses rock blockade. Cubble, use tooth for tooth. Mr. Mosquito, block their retreat, don't let them run away. Ryan suddenly threw out two Pokeballs, releasing Cocodora and Kyogera. As soon as the two Pokémon landed, they attacked Ghastly and the others. Cocodora used rocks to block their space, creating a good output environment for Kyogera. Kyogera condensed a purple energy on his arm and slapped Ghastly hard. Ha! Ghastly, who was hit, wailed and felt that his body was about to be broken apart. The nightmare next to him was stunned in place, and it hadn't reacted yet. Wasn't it and Ghastly going to scare these humans? Why were they suddenly beaten by human Pokémon? And I haven't seen these two Pokémon just now? In fact, not only the nightmare, but even the players didn't react. They were still listening to Ryan's introduction of Pokémon. As a result, Ryan had already fought with Ghastly and the others before he noticed. This is the effect Ryan wanted. Ghastly is a slippery Pokémon that can easily run away if you are not careful. You can only attack it when it is not paying attention. Tit for tat, fight back again. Roar. Tit for tat's arm glowed purple again, and then it smashed towards Ghastly. Ghastly, who was in a bad state, was unable to dodge and could only watch the huge bear paw wrapped in purple energy slap it, and then it fainted. Go, Pokeball! Ryan took out an empty Pokeball from his waist and smashed it accurately at Ghastly. With the appearance of a red light, Ghastly was also collected in the ball. The Pokeball just shook a little and made a ding sound. Next, attack Dream. Where is Dream? Yobo, Yobo! Mosquito-kun gestured to Ryan. Although he did not bring an empty Rotom this time, Ryan could understand what Mosquito-kun wanted to express. Did he run away when he saw the situation was bad? This little guy has no loyalty at all, leaving Ghastly behind and running away. Ryan shook his head helplessly. If these ghost Pokémons want to run away, it is really difficult to stop them. But it doesn't matter. His target is only Ghastly. He picked up the Pokeball on the ground, and as soon as he turned around, he found that the players were looking at him with expectation. What are you going to do? Lord, you haven't said that sentence yet. Yes, 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 have you forgotten the tradition of our territory? Ryan's face froze. How could he forget this? In the past, he only thought about watching the players' fun, but he didn't expect that this time he would shoot himself in the foot. It's too shameful for him to say that sentence in front of so many players. But he couldn't not say this sentence. He said it himself. This is the tradition of the territory. He, as the Lord, can't not abide by it. Ryan gritted his teeth, raised the Pokeball in his hand, and shouted the classic line. I have captured Ghastly.